again, and I cannot shake the feeling that I have forgotten something. Perhaps it is that I almost forgot to write the sign for today, so I hurried, and the handwriting is... can't isn't spaced as nicely as I'd like it to be. Maybe I forgot something else very important. The show's recording. I made sure I have space on the drive. I didn't check if my stream viewer is working, but I almost always forget that. Let's see. Yes, it is working. Fantastic, fantastic. We had a university page open because somebody was doubting that university was real. They thought that the evidence I found on their website was made up and false and the entire university didn't exist. That's the only way they could explain that the resource I found was proving them wrong. But that's how it goes on here. Deny, 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 deny. There's this really interesting pattern of like whatever evidence you give Trump supporters, they will just ask a question about it and they will just do that over and over and over again until you don't know the answer. So we're like 8 layers deep on but why, but why, but why, but why. And because I didn't know the middle name of the judge that decided that case 17 years ago or whatever random thing it is, suddenly I must be wrong. Suddenly I must be, clearly, my head's up my ass. Lee Nielsen says it's never Democrats' fault, huh? Is that what the sign says? I think you're maybe demonstrating... Another problem is that people on the right seem to just look at things and just declare it means something else. Lee Nielsen also says, I wish this guy cared as much when Biden was president. I don't think you knew me when Biden was president. In fact, you're going to be my first mute of the day because I don't mute dissidents just because they're dissidents, but I don't have a caller yet. So if you want to talk about it, Lee Nielsen, you can hit the request button on your screen and you and I can talk about it. I'd love to answer these things. You got one more in before I muted you, which was whatever you do, don't hold Democrats responsible for anything. I don't know, dude. You're watching the wrong live. I'm pretty critical of Democrats. I'm pretty critical of some things that Biden did. I'm pretty critical of some things that Obama did. I'm pretty critical of how the Democratic establishment has handled things for the last 15 years. I'm highly critical. I think I'm pretty straightforward about that, but you're just going to invent. I can't play the piano just yet. Somebody's asking about it in the chat. It is an 88 key. It's not weighted keys or anything. It's just a MIDI controller. And because it's a MIDI controller, it's kind of hard to get the audio piped from my interface to TikTok Live. So that's a tech problem for me to solve. Yeah, Scout decided to crash the show early today. I'd love for her to curl up and sit nicely on my lap while I do the live, but she's kind of a cat bongo cat, and she requires constant stimulation or else she will just crawl all over me and crawl all over the keyboard. Thank you for the heart me. So music stream forthcoming, maybe, but probably not during the 2 hours that I do the debates every live. Because if I start singing or playing the guitar or playing the keyboard or something, people just leave. Like if they're not here for the debates. I am a musician. That's why I made my social media in the first place. But I don't... It's not worth trying to cannibalize the grift I'm running on the debates to try to support my music career. I should just, make good music and do that separately, even if it's on the same accounts. Jesse Lee says, we will never know if that's true or not. Are you talking about the sign? I don't know. Russell Hellinger says seems the other way. Yeah. We've already got the moderators here inviting these people to come talk to me. Some of them will eventually, hopefully. That's the idea. We've already got 70 people watching, and none of them want to call in and chat. But the prompt today is just the prompt as always. We don't actually have to talk about the sign. It's just kind of something for people to see while they're scrolling through the For You page and get upset and go, oh, I can totally handle being wrong. And then they'll call in and prove the sign right, probably. Both parties can't handle being wrong. I don't know. I disagree. But I'll talk about that with you if you hit the request button on your screen and come talk, make that claim in front of everybody. And that can be the topic of the live if you hit the request button, but you do have to hit the request button. All right. You can't handle, we are usually right. I guess he's talking about MAGA? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I feel like that's enough. You're discussing enough with me for me to want you to do it with your voice. So I am going to mute you for the entire live. You can try again tomorrow if you want to show up when there's a call happening, and then you can argue all you want in the chat. But I have this little rule where if you're arguing in the chat while there isn't a caller, I'm just going to mute you to encourage you to click the request button. And I always have to say it because people, particularly on YouTube, who don't understand how TikTok works, I'm not banning these people. I don't ban Trump supporters for being Trump supporters. I'm not trying to shut down dissidents in the chat or anything like that. It's just it is just to get a caller going so we can get the stream going. So they can come back and talk all they want in the chat about Trump being right about stuff. I left MAGA once I learned where they're wrong. That's Snatch TV in the chat. Can we get some W's for Snatch TV? I really do want to like take a moment to appreciate the people who hear that they're wrong and go, oh wow, that's terrible, and then they abandon the party that's doing the horrible things that the right is doing right now. Thanks everybody for giving those W's to Snatch TV. We really just got to say it's hard emotionally to own that you're wrong and change your mind. In my life, I've changed my mind about a bunch of my political beliefs. I've always been progressive. I've always been on the left, but there's just certain issues where the more and more I learn, I go, you know what? I thought wrong about this for years. That's not a good solution. And that's embarrassing and difficult, but you have to do that. It's just, am I independent? No, I consider myself a Democrat. I mean, I'm not super excited about the Democrats. I'm not like my party above all else. It's country over party, right? On the presidential elections, yeah, I vote Democrat because I think that right now, until we have a ranked choice voter system, I consider being an independent throwing your vote away. So you can be ideologically independent. I don't have a problem with that. And I find that because I have some opinions that people who are on the far left don't necessarily like. I don't agree with the far left about everything. I actually agree with independents about a bunch of stuff. I just think when it comes to the voting booth, until we have ranked choice voting, you aren't making a difference. So we're going to talk to Mike Hunt, 7120. No, we're not. He just left. As soon as I said his name, he disappeared from the queue. Beat me to it, Mike. I was going to click accept. We were going to talk to him. But somebody in the chat says everybody's scared. I worry about that. Maybe I get too good at this and people just run away. The regular callers don't call in anymore. They've gotten tired of trying to break through the brick wall that I have to be to sit here and do this. Mike Hunt 7121 is back. Fantastic. We'll start, of course, by asking him the question we always start the calls with for TikTok TOS, which is how old are you?
Hey, how you doing, man? 27.
27. Have we spoken before? I feel like I recognize your voice.
We might have. To be honest with you, I agree with that little whole ranked choice vote thing you just said. I mean, look, we don't got any true representation until we can achieve that. Kind of keep getting shitty options on both ends, if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh, is your name a joke? I'm sorry for asking, but Mike Hunt is your name a joke?
I just like wordplay, you know. I got.
Hey, it's a good one. You got me to say it. You got me to say it without noticing. So I'm gonna start by giving the host or the guest 2 W's. If we could get 2 W's in the chat from everybody for the guest, because you admitted that I was right about something at all, which is a good start. Because I'm glad we agree about ranked choice voting, even if we disagree about which of the two parties your vote should be for. I appreciate that. And the pun is good. You got me to say it. But what do you want to talk about?
Honestly, man, I guys want to come back and say I support that ranked choice bond thing. I think we did talk before. I want to say, I like the guy for the tax plan. Otherwise than that, he kind of sucks.
Trump?
I'm sure we can find more things we agree on.
You like Trump's tax plan?
Yeah.
Why?
I was just a big fan of the cuts I received back in 2018. I was happy to have those cemented under the big beautiful bill. Not perfect by any way,
Are you in it? Are you in like a really, really high tax bracket?
I'm pretty comfortable.
Right. So you are happy that most Americans are going to suffer because of this tax policy, because it benefits you, because you're in a high tax bracket and you already have your needs met.
That's kind of what I say. I would have done it a little bit differently. I wouldn't say suffer. I mean, they're already going to be charged their tax at a lower rate.
Well, no. It will directly cause suffering, because there's this interesting thing where, like, if you're in a really high tax bracket, and it sounds like you don't want to say exactly which one, but if you make, $300,000 a year or something, you could lose $50,000 of your income, and it wouldn't actually affect the dinner you eat at the end of the day. It probably wouldn't affect the size of the TV in your living room. It probably wouldn't affect whether or not you get to go on vacation this year. But there are people who make less than $50,000 a year total to whom that would put them in the negative. That's just all the money they have. So when you have tax policy that changes the take home, the effective take home from people who make less money, it directly causes them to suffer. You understand a lot of people in this country struggle to pay for food, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. The fact that those cuts to the lower brackets are creeping back up is pretty unfortunate, and definitely not an aspect that I agree with. In fact, there's a lot of aspects of it I don't agree with. The truth of the matter, it was just fiscally better for me, where I would have left more money on the table. If it was up to me, obviously, I would have added new brackets. I think the fact that I get taxed at the same rate as somebody making millions of dollars a year is kind of disgusting.
Okay, then I don't understand why you like Trump's tax policy. I mean, is it literally just because you're that selfish?
It just saved me a bunch of money. I mean, look, man, we're talking 4 to 5 figure annual savings since 2018. terms of the corporate cut.
Right. And what I just explained, is that doesn't affect your ability to feed yourself, but the policy that you're supporting affects people's ability to feed yourself, especially because in the big, beautiful bill, Trump changed the requirements for SNAP benefits such that something like 12 million people no longer qualified. And then he went on the TV on his at his State of the Union address and said that he'd lifted those people out of poverty, when actually he didn't change the economic conditions for them in any way other than taking away their food benefits, literally making it harder for them to buy food. So you're okay with all that to have a bigger paycheck, even though your needs are met already?
No, not really. I still speak out against it. Like I said, that's not really an aspect that I support.
You called in and said that you don't support Trump for any reason other than this tax policy, and now you're backpedaling to say that you don't support it. I don't understand your position at all.
Like the big, beautiful bill cuts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is to say I support it 100%.
It's 2026, and we're talking about the current presidential administration, the current policy, the ones that were put in place last year in the big, beautiful bill, and you're saying that because you got good tax cuts in 2018, you're okay with all these people suffering?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, that's really not an equivalency right there. I was happy with it compared to the alternative plan, which would have seen my taxes go up. Being said,
wait, no, what's the inconsistency? I just explained it twice, and the first time you agreed with me, and then the second time you didn't.
Well, I mean, now you talk about cuts to social safety nets and things like that, which I can't really co-sign. Like I said, I would have done it differently personally. Not to say this still wasn't But you're still okay with it, and you still want Trump to be the president because it makes your taxes lower. I mean, look, man, he already delivered what he had delivered to me. I don't really care if he sits in office, but the next option is J.D. Vance, which I feel like would be worse. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'd rather kind of just keep him in there.
Okay, I'm just not understanding why.
Why I'd rather have him than President J.D. Vance.
No, just everything you've talked about in the call. You made your position. I assessed your position. I said that it's selfish because you're willing to take this tax cut that doesn't affect your needs. Well, you said that you don't support Trump, but you do because of his tax policy. I'm trying to understand how that makes sense, given that it sounds like you don't like his tax policy. Are you just afraid of me calling
with the big, beautiful bill? I wouldn't say I support 100% of it. I mean, I certainly support the tax cuts. I would have done it differently.
Right. So, I mean, did you really hate the tax policy that would have been put in place if Kamala Harris had become president? Is that what you're so afraid of?
Yeah. I mean,
what are you spending the extra money on? Just, you don't have to tell me the numbers, but if you're making more money a year, if your take home, if your buying power is better, in your life personally, is there something you're excited about spending that money on? What is it?
Just trying to roll it over into more income generating assets, 27, trying to set myself up, get comfortable, kind of get out of the game early,
good retirement, own some property, that sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so it's more important that a very small number of people get to have a more comfortable retirement and more properties and a cushier life. That's more important to you than people who need to eat today because they're hungry.
I would say is the things that I'm prioritizing for me to go work with. Yeah, I'm not here to help everybody, especially red states. They can't vote themselves out of a paper bag. I feel like a lot of blue states already have this subsidized at a state level. These, social safety nets we're seeing.
To be perfectly clear about the social safety nets, it is the blue states that are subsidizing the red states because we give more money back to the federal government, and then the federal government spends that on red states.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're not assholes. Even though we think these people are in the wrong, we're not going to punish everybody in a state because their state voted with a majority for policies that we don't like. We're not hateful like that. Trump does that sort of thing. He punishes blue states for voting in ways that he doesn't like. He's pretty clear and specific about that. But I just to be clear, I feel like we keep getting to the conclusion of your opinions on this tax policy, and then you just avoid answering yes or no to the question. You are okay with many millions of people having a harder time affording food because it improves the rate at which you are building your, it sounds like, very comfortable retirement.
Yeah, see, that's an aspect I would have done differently, like I said.
If you would have done that differently, then what is it that you did like about the policy? I'm not understanding.
Just the cuts to my personal rate as well as the corporate cuts.
We're talking in a circle. Right, so those benefits, the thing that you're happy about, I'm saying that it is worth it for you to get that, even if it means that millions of people are going to continue to struggle to make ends meet.
I wouldn't really make that an equivalent here. I think it's been going on.
But that is what the Big Beautiful did do. Do you recognize that the Big Beautiful bill made life harder for most people in America?
For most, for certain individuals, it certainly did.
No, not certain individuals. Most people. Most people's earning power was reduced. All this stuff you want about a comfortable retirement and getting your finances in order, most people, that problem was made harder for by the Big Beautiful bill. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, that problem was already probably hard for him. I mean,
yes, the big, beautiful bill made it worse, and I am saying that you are okay with that because it benefits you personally. I'm accusing you of being selfish for that, and then that's where you change the topic back.
I mean, yeah, look, I'm not telling you I'm not selfish, but I'm not going to say I agree with 100% of it. I mean, yeah, no.
Which is it? Because we are talking about the only policy apparently that causes you to support Trump. Because you said everything else is bad, so we don't even need to talk about that. We probably could talk about how everything else is so bad that even if you were right about the tax policy thing, when I say right, I mean moral. Even if you were moral about your position on the tax policy, it's still not worth all the horrible stuff that he's doing otherwise. But I really want to stick on this issue. I'm just you do admit that you are selfish. Your approach to politics is selfish.
Yeah, at least at the national level,
Okay. Do you think it's good for people to vote in ways that are selfish or in ways that are good for the country as a whole?
At a national level, I don't think it really matters. I think you got to start with your own community first.
No, that's what local politics are for. You should get involved in your local city council and stuff like. Great. We're not talking about that. We are talking about the federal policy that affects 350 million residents of this country.
Yeah, but again, I can't really leave money on the table to try to assist these, red states that can't vote themselves out of a paper bag.
But you understand that your life, on average, still gets better if we bring those people out of poverty, because over the course of those people's lifetimes, the government will spend less money on them if they have an easier shot of making it in the way that you have.
Well, that's assuming everybody gets brought out of poverty, man. I don't think we're going to be able to.
No, you don't have to assume. No, you don't have to assume that everybody comes out of poverty. You have to assume that enough people come out of poverty and have a life like yours that we don't end up, because healthcare is broken in this country, we don't end up paying for their ailments when they get worse because they didn't go to the doctor, because they didn't have health insurance at all, or good health insurance. That's an example. We don't have to pay for incarcerating the people who rob the grocery store because they're hungry, which as a humanist, I really have a hard time being all that mad at somebody who robs a grocery store because maybe the kids are hungry.
You just let them go if it's nonviolent.
Yeah. I mean. Okay. So, you have some ethical principles.
Have a lot of these policies that we supported at the state level. I just can't leave money on the table to try to do this at a national level when these red states can't get out of their own way.
You keep blaming the red states, but I'm saying that the red states will become.
I'm not really blaming them. I'm just saying I don't care. I don't care.
But the tax policies that help those people, yeah, they're having a hard time voting themselves out of a paper bag. They are fucking it up. It seems we agree on that, which is unusual for these calls. Most people think that the red states are the ones really crushing it, which is not really the case if you look at the data. But if you want the red states to be more like the blue states, then you shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, because the tax policies that we present are ones that will help make those states better, that will help make the education systems and the tax policy and all the social services that help people get better, help people get to the happy, cushy life that it seems you have. We want that. I agree with you. Why the fuck did you vote for Trump?
Yeah, again, I don't really, it's not my main priority. If they can be like blue states, that's really not what I'm voting for. In a perfect world, they could.
It's happened like half a dozen times in this call, dude, where you tell me what you want, and I go, great. The big beautiful bill did the opposite. The Democrats want that too, and then you immediately just say, no, that's it's like what's going on, dude? Like, why did you vote for Trump? I don't understand. Is it literally? You're selfish. It's because you made more money, right? Like that's the only thing that's actually important to you.
Yeah, man, I've never really danced around it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you danced around it a little bit. But I just want to ask one more time before I move on, because the chat's getting impatient, which is, do you think that people should cast votes in a way that is selfish?
At a national level, I don't really care. I mean, you can be a self-preservationist if you want. Actually, even at a local level, I don't really care.
Can I present a hypothetical about why I think that it's wrong to vote for policies that only benefit your current economic situation?
Yeah, sure.
Your current economic situation might change. I don't know what you do for work, and it sounds like you were private about the numbers, and I'm not going to ask you to dock yourself and tell us what your job is. But let's say that you do a job that's really, really hard to do if you break a leg or something, and then you get in a terrible car accident that isn't your fault, and then even if your healthcare is good, your leg doesn't work anymore, and you can't have that career. You might find yourself in a situation where these policies actually really negatively affect you. You don't know what the future holds, man. You're speaking from a point of privilege that your life is comfortable in the way that it is, and these policies benefit you. But there's a bunch of things that can happen out of your control that would put you below that poverty level and make it really, really hard for you to fight against these economic policies. You might think, oh my God, things are going so badly. I need to eat. I need some SNAP benefits. I lost my leg. What's going on? And then, Trump took your SNAP benefits away. Now you're hungry and looking for a job. That could happen to you. You recognize that, right?
I have a lot of safety nets in place to guarantee that can't. If it did, that would certainly be my own fault. That being said, I do live in a blue state.
You're just saying it's your own fault. I laid out a very clear case where it's not your fault. Maybe because you're so comfortable.
I mean, look at man, I could, be the paraplegic and I'd still be, making plenty of passive income, and that's not the end of the world.
Right. Okay. But the circumstances could still change. There could be some economic disaster that destroys whatever your passive income is. If it's on properties, there could be a property housing crisis. One of those properties could burn down. Like I'd need to know details about exactly why you're comfortable to present.
Burn down. I mean,
I don't know your situation. I don't know what your passive income is. Unless you want to explain to me what your situation is, I'm not going to be able to present the hypothetical that applies to you specifically, but I could come up with any hypothetical that applies to any situation you have, because any passive income is necessarily a little bit out of your hands. And whatever that external thing that allows passive income to happen, say it's rent from tenants on properties, housing law could change. Like, these things are out of your control. You don't know the future. And lots of people in American history, certainly in recent living memory,
adapting to changing housing law.
Yeah, again, you're just assuming everything's going to work out for you. And I'm saying that you do know that there are many people who've fallen from the sort of grace that you get to enjoy. Plenty of people who made $500,000 a year 10 years ago are struggling today because some very bad stuff happened to them. Maybe they got cancer for a number of years. You would struggle keeping up with your life if you had cancer and had to ruin your body with chemotherapy and barely survived it. I could just keep making up hypotheticals.
I mean, that's terrible. I don't think I'd really care about my taxes at that point. But I mean, I think they have.
My point is that the social safety nets that you are what I'm saying is that the social safety nets that you are unwilling to pay for because they don't currently apply to you could protect you. They could protect someone you love. I don't know if you have kids or want kids, but they could protect your kids. I am willing to
pay for them at the state level, and I do. And I'm a donor to plenty of candidates that support them at the state level.
Why aren't you willing to pay for it at the federal level? Why do you draw the line there?
Because, like I said, there's simply places that can't vote themselves out of a paper bag, and then now I'm spending more money, essentially leaving money on the table in order to subsidize those places.
And you're so principled about the fact that, imagine the people in those red states who can't vote themselves out of a paper bag. They're trying. They're voting blue. They're trying to get policies that make their lives better. And you're saying, nope, because your neighbors voted red, I'm going to continue to punish you by not supporting federal welfare programs just because you happen to live in a red state. What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm not really here to support him or not support him. Like I said, there's certain aspects that, I would pick and choose out of that bill. I didn't write it. It was just fiscally better for me.
Okay. I am gonna move on because I think we're talking in circles. Is there anything you want to say before you go?
I liked your little ranked choice voting comment. Go Wild, I guess, man. We'll see how you do.
You're talking about the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah.
I appreciate the local shout out, but I don't personally follow sports. So thanks for that.
Have a good day, man.
You as well. Selfish. We're going to talk to John Boy. John Boy's going to start the call by telling us his age. John Boy, how old are you?
54.
54. What would you like to discuss? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I am.
What would you like to discuss?
Whatever you were discussing, I mean, you had a whole lot of ifs. If this happens, if that happened, if this happens, if that happens, you have nothing concrete. It's all ifs.
The safety net that exists below trapeze artists, people who fly in the circus, the safety net stops them from hitting the concrete that's below them if they fall. That's what a safety net is. Do you understand that?
Yeah, we don't need that. If you can't afford to feed yourself, then you need to go somewhere else.
What if you're a child? What if your parent?
I have my own family.
What if you're a child?
Why would I need to feed a million other families?
What if you're a child and you can't feed yourself because your parents are fucking up?
Then you shouldn't have had the child.
No. That's the parents. I'm asking about the child. Why is the child at fault?
Because the parents are morons.
Why? What did the child do to deserve to be hungry?
The child has a parent that is a loser, doesn't have a job, and wants to make his child hungry.
That's the child's fault?
Yes, it is.
Chat, let me know if I should continue this call. You really think it is a child's fault for being born into a family that's struggling? I do also disagree with you about the nature of people who are struggling.
It's the parents' fault. It's not the child's fault. It's the parents' fault.
Okay, it's not the child's fault. So you
don't buy a dog if you can't afford to buy dog food.
But I would feed a dog if somebody owned a dog that they couldn't afford to feed. I'd give the dog food because the dog doesn't deserve to suffer. I don't think the person deserves to suffer either, but that's a separate conversation.
But it's not our problem to feed everybody. That's not our problem.
Why not?
That's your problem.
It would make America great.
It's not our problem. That's your problem.
It is our problem. We live in the same country. These people.
Why do I have to feed your kid? You feed your kid.
Why do you have to pave the roads that these people drive on?
Our taxes pay the roads.
Yeah, the taxes feed their hungry kids. Those hungry kids get to go to school with a full belly, and that makes them learn better, and maybe they get a better job, and maybe they're less likely to need welfare assistance in their life. That's good.
That's not true. Millions of people are on welfare and don't deserve it.
Do you consider yourself a Christian? Just curious.
Yes, I am a Christian.
What did Jesus say about feeding the hungry?
It doesn't matter. There's a lot of illegals in this.
Wait. You said two things. You said you're a Christian, and you said that it doesn't matter what Jesus said.
I know what Jesus said about your fellow neighbor being kind and feeding them and helping them, but
so you disagree with Jesus?
These aren't our fellow neighbors, these illegals that are here. Those are people from another country.
Well, actually, what Jesus said is that you should treat the foreigner who resides within your land the way you would treat any other neighbor. He was very clear on the matter.
But they broke into our land, so they need to go back.
Okay, but regardless of where they are, Jesus still thinks you should feed them. They're your neighbor.
Well, that's something that I don't agree with in the Bible.
Like one of the core things that Jesus really changed things up because the Old Testament's a pretty scary book. Jesus showed up and it's still a pretty scary book because they thought some pretty antiquated, backwards things about social issues and politics 2,000 years ago. But he was like, hey, we should feed hungry people. His whole like famous magic trick was like generating food to give to the poor and downtrodden. But you're just not about that part of the Bible.
I'm not about helping other families that can't help themselves.
Okay, so which parts of the Bible are you into?
The beginning and the end.
The beginning and the end. Okay, I'm not so educated on the Bible that I can remember exactly what you mean by that. What are you talking about? The beginning when God created the earth, right? You're talking about the book of Genesis?
Yep, Genesis and Revelations. That's the main two parts of the book.
Tell me what you like about Revelations.
Well, God's going to come back and judge, or Jesus is going to come back and judge, and he who has
when Jesus comes back to judge, how do you wait? I've got a next question. When Jesus comes back to judge,
it doesn't mean I'm not going to heaven. Just because I didn't feed your child doesn't mean.
So when Jesus comes back to judge, how do you think he will judge you for having thrown out the sorts of things that he said because you don't like feeding poor people?
That's Jesus, he didn't go around and feed everybody in the world. It was just a group of people, okay?
He only fed some people. So we're not trying to feed everybody. We're not trying to airdrop food into every country that has hungry people. We are just talking about specifically the people who Jesus was talking about, which is the foreigner that resides within our land, who according to Jesus should be treated like citizens, should be treated like any other neighbor we have here, should be fed, should be clothed, should be housed.
Not when they're bringing drugs and murdering our people.
Okay, so you're moving the goalposts, and now you're saying that these people did something wrong. That means they're no longer eligible.
The first thing they did wrong was break into our country. That's number one. As soon as you cross that border illegally, you are a criminal.
The Bible no longer applies to you. Wait, slow down. I'm trying to make sure I understand your position. You're saying that the Bible no longer applies to you if you commit a misdemeanor?
The Bible doesn't apply to the laws in today's world, is what I'm saying.
It's a misdemeanor to break into this country. You think that if you commit a misdemeanor, what Jesus said about you no longer applies. You think that the law of the land is higher than the law of the Bible?
You can break into the country, and even if it's a misdemeanor, guess what? You get your ass sent back and get in line with the rest of the people.
And you think that's the Christian way to think about this topic?
That's the law. That's the law way of the land.
You think a misdemeanor is more important?
God isn't here enforcing the laws. God isn't here enforcing the laws.
I thought he's going to come back and judge all of us.
Yeah, he will.
How is he going to judge you for violating his laws? You're violating God's laws, buddy. That should be a bigger deal than the law, the mortal law of the land.
Well, who knows what's going to happen?
Sounds like you do. You said Jesus is going to come back to judge you. I'm saying that you're disobeying Yes.
That's what the Bible says.
Do you believe in the Bible or not? Sorry, my dog's barking. I'm also itching my nose because I just pet my cat a whole bunch, and the pets are really disturbing the show today. Sorry about that. Noodle, come here. Sorry, I got an alert dog so that when the Republicans come to murder me at home, I'll at least have a warning. Lots of death threats I get. Anyway, Noodle, come here. Sorry. Do you believe in the Bible or not?
I do.
Okay,
I don't agree with all of it, because when King James took it over and revised everything, he was a pedophile, he was a Satanist, and a lot of it is.
I agree that in any individual translation of the Bible it taints that copy of the text with the exact meaning of the person who translated it. The Muslims have figured this out, and you're not allowed to read translations. You have to learn Arabic and read the original one. So they solved that. But a second ago you said that you don't agree with all of it. So my next question is for you: is when you are reading the Bible, how do you decide which parts of it you follow and which parts you don't?
Like I said, I believe in the beginning, and I believe he'll come in the end.
I'm not asking which parts you believe. I'm asking how you decide which parts you believe and which parts you don't.
Well, it's always been that way for me.
I'm perfectly aware of that, dude. I know that I debate politics on here, but in my lifetime, I've debated religion a lot more than I've debated politics. So I happen to know what I'm talking about. And my question again is how. I'm not questioning.
God is the law of the heavens. Man is the law of the land.
Is that what it says in the Bible?
That's what I'm telling you, because that's what it is.
Okay, you haven't answered my question, so I'm going to ask it again. I understand that you believe some parts of it and don't believe other parts of it. I'm asking how you determine whether you should believe a particular part of it or not.
Well, it's just up to you. You decide for yourself.
Okay, so here's a question. Do you are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I am pro-choice.
Okay, I'm going to move on, because the Bible is also pro-choice, because a woman gets ordered to get an abortion because she cheated on her husband, go to a priest and get an abortion. So we don't even need to talk that again. But again, you're just really dodging the most important question here, which is that it seems to me like what's happening is that you have your political beliefs, which are earthly and mortal, and then you have your religious beliefs that you claim are like the law of the heavens and immortal. And it sounds to me like you determine which of the religious things you believe based on whether or not they align with your political beliefs here on earth. And I'm saying that if you're a religious man, it should be the other way around. And I don't even believe in your religion. I think your religion is horseshit. I just understand it better than you do.
I only believe in the beginning and the end. So
if you went to a priest and you said, hey, I only believe in these 2 chapters of the Bible, a priest of any denomination, what do you think that they would tell you?
I have no clue. I don't go to church.
Okay. So you're like a non-denominational wishy-washy. They're certainly going to send me to heaven, even though I'm a terrible piece of shit on earth. You're one of those Christians?
Maybe they will send me to hell. Maybe not. You don't know.
I mean, if I'm wrong about all this and there's heaven, I really hope that you're not there. Oh, I got a harassment and bullying flag. Oh well. I'm just gonna let that one cruise. I was kind of bullying you on the religion. But anyway, get double tapping away on the screen to get more people in here, because we're gonna be restricted for about 10 minutes. But that's okay. Once again, how did you come to this belief that you only believe in those 2 books of the Bible, Genesis and Revelation?
A lot of it. King James changed everything in between it.
Which translation of the Bible do you prefer then?
I prefer the Ethiopian Bible, which I'm actually reading right now.
The Ethiopian Bible. Okay, do you believe all the books in the Ethiopian Bible?
I'm just reading it. I don't necessarily believe everything, but I'm reading it to verse myself. I'm also reading the Quran. And
I still just completely don't understand why you've thrown out every single book in the Bible except for 2, and you're still saying you're a Christian.
Because I can.
I'm not saying you don't have the right to be that much of a nincompoop. I'm just trying to understand why you are that much of a nincompoop.
Because I can.
You just said that. Are you gonna answer the question, or are we gonna move on? Maybe you need to do some reflecting, man. Maybe you need to assess about yourself why you just make up what you believe in and what you don't. I don't think you're a Christian at all.
Oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I hope I'll get to heaven.
Yeah. I mean, you can hope for all sorts of things that aren't going to happen if you don't understand the things that you're talking about.
Everything you've been talking about is all ifs, and if this happens, well, if that happens, and did this happen? I'm a paraplegic in a wheelchair. I get my pension, and I also get disability. My disability went up, not down. So I don't know.
Do you think that Jesus, if he came down to heal some people and he wanted to get you out of that wheelchair, you think you'd be at the top of his list?
Nope.
I think he would, because he's not hateful the way that you are, because you're also at the top of my list. I want you to get better. I want you to have a good life. If there's a cure that heals you, even though I don't like you because of the things that you've said in the call, I would still want you to get that cure for free, because the world's a better place if you can walk. That's the way that Jesus thinks. That's the way that I think. That's not the way that you think. And that's devastating.
To you.
Yes. Me and most
not
people.
To everybody. Not to everybody.
Vote in the chat. Is it devastating? Yes or no? That he thinks that way about people and religion. Do you think that it's right that my taxes go towards paying for your disability?
Nope.
That's a lot of yeses. I don't think I've ever seen this many votes in the chat. Oh my God. That's like 50 yeses. Is there a single no?
I worked for 20 years in the union. I have a very nice pension.
Oh, wow.
I don't need the disability.
W-
They just gave it to me.
W chat for the engagement. Thank you so much, especially because we got 6 more minutes left on a restriction and the live's going too well for me to want to reset it. Oh, man, dude, you're not a Christian at all. I think it's offensive to Christians for people like you to call yourself Christians. My goodness, Scout is so busy today with disrupting my life. That's okay. W's in the chat for Scout.
I think chat loves us.
I love you. You're a human being. I don't think that you're like a monster. I don't think that you're like, I think you're really badly misguided and you haven't thought critically about some of the beliefs you have. But again, like I don't, most of the people who call into my live, I don't hate them. Some do. Some are quite horrible. Some are quite monstrous, but I don't actually think, I wouldn't put you in that category. I just think you're deeply, deeply ignorant, but I want your life to get better.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
I don't think that you do.
No, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, but you don't appreciate me saying that about people who aren't you, which is how the call started.
The people who aren't me.
Yeah, like the children who can't feed themselves in this country because their parents don't make enough money. Those people, I want to help those people too. You don't. Jesus wants to help those people. You don't.
The only people that are getting cut off welfare are the people that have been cheating the system for years.
Have the children, we're talking about children, have the children been cheating the system? Are they undeserving of the food they eat?
Well, maybe the children need to go to foster care or put in a...
Do you think a better solution is to put millions of children in foster care? Do you think that's better for the country?
Absolutely. If they're hungry, yes.
I am so devastated to inform you that this is not even the first time I've heard this argument. You literally think it would be a better solution to put millions and millions of children into foster care than to literally just feed them.
There's not millions and millions of children starving in this country.
There are millions and millions of children in this country who are eligible for SNAP benefits because of the economic conditions of their parents. That's who we're talking about. We're talking about children who don't have enough food in their homes to eat. And the important thing, because I know that you don't actually care about the children, so I just want to make sure that you understand that this. No, you've demonstrated thoroughly you don't give a shit about the kids, and I'm going to finish my point.
They need to go somewhere where they can be fed.
They should go to the grocery store with a SNAP benefits card. That's the cheapest way to get those kids the help they need. And you want the more expensive, more devastating last resort solution of taking these kids away from their parents.
And they have that. The ones that are doing it legally, the ones that have been doing it illegally got cut off.
Okay, I'm going to finish my point that you cut me off on saying a second ago, which is that even if you don't care about the children, which it's very clear that you don't, because, by the way, going to foster care sucks. It's like really bad for a child's life.
It's really get fed.
We try to do things that make the outcomes better for the children, and going to foster care is such an item of last resort because going to foster care is really bad for a child's life. So the conditions at home have to be really, really, really bad, worse than just them being hungry. Right. If they're just hungry, we just fucking feed them like Jesus would. Like you wouldn't, right? And what I'm saying is, even if you're selfish and you don't care about those children go to school with full bellies, and kids learn better when they're not hungry. When kids have economic security, they do a lot better in school and their lives turn out better, and they're far less likely to need economic benefits in their adulthood. They're far more likely to be productive members of society. And you're saying, fuck that, make their lives worse, send them to foster care because I don't give a shit what Jesus said. And you say all that after saying you're a Christian. Unacceptable. Explain yourself.
That's how I feel.
That's how you feel. You should think a little bit more, and you should align with a slogan that your party uses. I'll repeat it here. Fuck your feelings.
Well, yeah. That's why I say, them kids, if they're hungry, they need to go somewhere where there's food.
Like a 6-year-old, they should get themselves out of a better... they should be like, oh, man, my parents are such pieces of shit. I should run away from home, get myself in the foster system, and get fed. That's a responsibility for the 6-year-old, for the baby, for the infant.
No, they should be taken away from parents that can't afford to feed their children. Again. You don't have children if you can't afford to feed them. You don't get a dog if you can't afford the dog food. You don't get a cat.
But it doesn't seem to matter to you that you're making the
kids. They keep having kids and don't give a shit because they expect welfare to fucking pay for them all. And I'm tired of it, and so is every fucking body else.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that it's cheaper and better for other Americans if we just feed them. That's a better result, even if you're a selfish piece of shit like you claim to be. So why aren't you happy with the better solution that's cheaper and makes it less likely that we're going to have to spend more money in the future? Why do you want to make everything worse?
We don't need this bullshit in this country. That's why.
What bullshit?
They feeding every fucking body. Not everyone gets fed. There's starving veterans on the fucking streets. Homeless veterans.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem. We should give those people more help too. Can't they feed themselves? They served. They're like big, awesome American people who like fought for our country. Shouldn't they be capable of feeding themselves? Fuck those people, right? According to your reasoning?
I agree. Everybody in this country should be fed, even the children, if they're here.
No,
legally.
you fucking don't.
If they're here legally.
We're not even talking about illegal immigrants. They're not eligible for these sorts of benefits.
Yeah, but they get them. Look it up.
Where? Look it up where? We're gonna play the Google game.
Google how many illegal immigrants are getting benefits.
Okay, we're gonna Google exactly that. How many illegal immigrants are getting? Are you talking about benefits generally?
Welfare.
How many illegal immigrants are getting welfare? Google. Ooh, I typo in there. Let's fix that really quick. All right. So I don't read the AI blurb at the top because it so often hallucinates totally false information. So we're just going to scroll here. Center for Immigration Studies. Do you think that's a good source?
I'm not sure.
Okay, it's a .org. I happen to know that it's a pretty good source. Do you want to study whether or not it's a good source, or do you want to do that on your own time after we look at what they have to say?
What's it say?
All right, here we go. Using a 2024 survey of income and program participation, this analysis follows the Census Bureau's standard definition of welfare and reports use of means-tested anti-poverty programs by households headed by immigrants and the U.S. born. So, by the way, this is immigrants generally. This isn't illegal immigrants. Do you want to go back to the Google and search on illegal immigrants? Because this is about people who are legal immigrants. I
thought that's what you put in.
I said, how many illegal immigrants? Google failed us. There we go. The House Budget Committee, this is a .gov, so this is from the government saying the cost of illegal immigration to taxpayers from January 11th, 2024. Shall we take a look at this? Key points. The current surge of illegal immigration is unprecedented. Some 2.7 million inadmissible aliens have been released. Thank you. That's true. That did happen during Biden. That's not what the claim is. We're researching whether or not illegal immigrants get benefits.
They're getting benefits with my tax money, and they're here illegally and shouldn't be.
Okay, but the claim
Why are they getting a penny? You could take all that money that them illegal immigrants are getting and give it to the starving kids.
Acknowledging that there are illegal immigrants doesn't... We're researching if they receive the benefits.
They did. You just read it. They do.
What I read is that there's a current surge of illegal immigration. I didn't say that they're like, we're trying to research whether they cost us money. So like, what's the?
They do. And they do.
Let's see. Oh, I think this might actually be a bad source. What is this? Director of Research Center for Immigration Studies. No, it's the same one. Okay. Let's see. Based on the use of major welfare programs, we estimate that illegal immigrants. Now here, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna freak out about this, but I am going to say something because they use about $42 billion in benefits. Okay, do you know how much they pay in taxes?
I don't give a fuck.
You should give a fuck because
they should go pay taxes wherever the fuck they came from illegally.
But they bring in $100 billion. They bring in $100 billion in taxes because they do pay taxes, and they cost $42 billion. So their net benefit to the government is a fiscally positive one, according to that information.
Yeah, well, it's still taking money out of my pocket to pay.
No, it isn't. It's putting money into your pocket because they have a net benefit to the welfare programs because they pay more in taxes than they receive in benefits.
You agree somebody that can break into our country and they don't have to do nothing, they just collect welfare?
You're just making all this up, dude. Like, there are certain things that they do qualify for. They get to call 911 when their house is on fire. They get an emergency room visit if they're hurt. There are things that we spend money on. But what the data, what the information that we just looked up shows is that they benefit the federal government more by paying taxes than they do by costing the federal government in these programs. You realize that that's a good thing, right?
Well, we could have other people doing those jobs to pay those to get.
Yes or no? If somebody pays $10 and costs $4, they made you $6, right?
They didn't make me anything. They didn't make you anything.
It's a hypothetical. If I take away $4 of your dollars and give you $10, is that a bad thing that you...
Yes.
Okay, so that's what the illegal immigrants are doing with their taxes that they pay and the welfare programs that they use. Why is that bad?
It's a lot of money.
These are big numbers, but
that's one part of the $42 billion. Now you got to look at, like you said, the hospitalization, the food, everything else that they get. That's just one part. So that 100 billion or whatever it is that they're bringing in on taxes, it does not exceed what they're taking, and that's a fact.
You need to provide evidence for that. That's like you're just making that up.
No, I'm not. Look it up.
I just did.
Yo, you only looked up one part of it.
I'm going to turn around on you and say that I've done the research, and if you want to call in another time, having done your homework and show me that you're right. But what I'm saying is that I didn't look up the 100 billion figure. That's a different one that we could look up. I just happen to know it off the top of my head, which is that illegal immigrants pay more in taxes than they cost the welfare program because they so disproportionately don't qualify for welfare programs. They can't get SNAP benefits. They don't get Social Security. They don't get Medicaid, but they pay into those programs with their taxes. So that's a net benefit.
Okay.
It is okay. I agree.
It's okay with you, yeah.
Why isn't it okay with you?
It's not okay with millions of people in this country because we don't want any illegals here. That's why I don't care if you're Polish, Mexican, blue, white, or yellow. If you don't have a card to be here, get the fuck out.
But but the reason you're saying you're not okay with those people is because they're so expensive. And what I'm saying is they pay more into the government than they take out of it. So will you at least admit that that's not a good reason to not like illegal immigrants because you were just wrong about it?
I'm not sure if they pay more in than they're getting out of it. So I'll have to look that up. And
I invite you to go look it up. I would love for you to go find sources that prove that I'm wrong and bring them, and we could look at them in front of my audience with everybody. I would love that. Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Okay. John Boy, I really do hope to hear from you again. I'd love for you to go do some research and bring me your evidence, and we can look at it together. Is that the plan?
I'm going to follow you right now, brother.
Appreciate that. You've been polite, and I'd like to thank guests who. Well, that's not true. You yelled at me a little bit, and you said some pretty reprehensible.
Me too.
Yeah. I get excited on here. It's important stuff we're talking about. We're talking about feeding hungry kids. That's really important. I do get pretty energized about it. But I just mean the conversation's been functional. You haven't interrupted me too much, and I just appreciate you at least listening to what I'm saying.
My last thing is that all the money that we waste on illegals would be more than enough to feed all the hungry kids in this country and take care of our veterans. That's the last thing I'm going to say.
Okay. I mean, that's the same thing you've been saying the whole time, and I proved it all wrong, but I'm going to let him go, and I really do hope to hear back from him. I actually really like it when my callers go and do research and bring it back. Not just because they usually bring evidence that they didn't read very carefully and it actually proves me right, but just because it shows that they're actually arguing in good faith and trying to do their homework. After I remind you guys to go to the link tree in my bio and follow me on the other platforms. And if you want to support the show, there are some options to do that there. After I say that, I'll remind everybody to get double tapping away on the screen because our restriction is over, so we can get some more viewers in here and some more callers. But we are going to talk to OrangeLazarus, a username I recognize, but I don't remember who this is. So maybe he can remind me after he tells us how old he is, or she. How old are you?
30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a Trump supporter?
I used to be.
I'm gonna boot you and move on because I will invite you to call back maybe in about an hour before 12 or right about 12 when I go to talk to friendlies. But for now, I am just looking for ops. I don't have anybody in the queue right now, so if you're in the chat and you disagree with me about anything, I do invite you to come up and talk. And then the previous call I think was a good one to recognize that even if I really staunchly disagree with somebody, I said, well, okay, hold on. OrangeLazarus is back. He immediately said in the chat he's not a friendly. So I will say, I'll bring him back because maybe it'll be an interesting conversation. In what way are you not a friendly?
Dude, I am very much an op to you.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about it.
There is nothing that I find more reprehensible, obnoxious than basically liberal Democrats. I think they're the vanguard of U.S. imperialism, basically.
You only like Democrats if they're not liberal, or is it that you only like people who are liberal if they're not Democrats?
Both parties are liberal, obviously, but
I don't think that that's obvious at all.
You don't think that the Republican and Democratic Party are, in the classical sense, liberal?
I think that you can go back and find an old enough definition that things start to get a little wishy-washy on what they mean, but I think your head's up your ass if you're telling me that conservatives are liberal, because the Republicans are the conservative party.
Republicans and Democrats, the corporate parties, are liberal parties.
Explain.
Classical liberalism is the foundation philosophically for both parties in a liberal bourgeois democracy, which is what the U.S.
Yeah,
is.
yeah. If you go back and look at like John Locke and the old school philosophical definitions,
That's all I'm saying. Right, that's all I'm saying.
That's not what people mean by those words today. You got to keep up with the language, buddy.
That's why I used it in the context of liberal Democrats.
I'm a theater kid with like some pretty good comprehension of Shakespeare. Do you think if I like went about my life speaking Shakespearean English, I'd be speaking the language effectively and talking in a way that people understand?
Okay, but we're talking about the ontological nature of like a philosophical principle.
Yeah,
right.
You're putting bigger labels on the same thing, but what I'm saying is that using a definition from hundreds of years ago is not an effective way to discuss things today. I think we should use the definition that people use now.
I despise Democrats.
Do you think that you should use the definition of a word that most people recognize, or do you think that you should staunchly claim that everybody has to get educated on what words meant hundreds of years ago? Mind you, only the ones that you've selectively decided to use the definitions from hundreds of years ago, because you're not speaking English that was just locked in place in like 1800 or during John Locke's time before that or something like that. You're just cherry picking some words, saying that you use definitions of them that are hundreds of years old and declaring yourself right in the conversation.
Well,
and I'm speaking the English that everybody else speaks.
In America, but the vast majority of people in the world would consider both parties in America liberal parties.
You're talking to Americans on this show about American politics.
So I'll restrict it to Democrats.
You should restrict it to what most people understand you to mean when you say the words in English.
Or liberals, the colloquial American understanding of liberals, yes. I despise them.
Okay, that's Democrats and not Republicans. Can you admit that?
Yeah.
Okay, then for the rest of the live, I would like for you to drop this nonsense about Republicans being conservative because they believe in people being able to do whatever they want, which is what liberal ideologies were in the 1600s.
Okay.
Society's moved on. The government wasn't as complicated. We didn't have as many people. We didn't have...
Do you want to argue about classical liberalism or not?
I don't. Tell me what you think about current liberals, the Democrats.
I think the biggest problem with current liberals is that they essentially worship form over content. They support all of the major institutions of the United States. They're blatantly hypocritical when it comes to U.S. imperialism. They are smug and obnoxious. And I find it completely unbearable.
Why, dude? Like, what are we doing wrong? That's. I want you to reduce it. I want you to be clear.
You support U.S. imperialism. You support all of the institutions, the illegitimate institutions in the United States.
In what way do I? In what way do I support American imperialism? Is that what you said?
Yep.
In what way do I support American imperialism?
Do you support the Ukraine war?
I support our I support our support of it, and I actually don't support it for imperialistic reasons. I have good reasons, I think, to support it. I don't think we're trying to take over Ukraine. That's not the goal.
Why do you support Ukraine? I would argue that's at the vanguard of U.S. imperialism.
I have two reasons for supporting our aid in Ukraine, and one of them I think is going to be less interesting to you, so I'll just mention it quickly, which is that as a humanitarian, I think we should just help people who are in that much distress in the same way that I protect my own household first.
What about the people in the Donbass?
Okay, are you saying about the people in the Donbass who want to be a part of Russia?
Yeah,
they're a minority.
They were being attacked by the Azov Battalion, a neo-Nazi group that is the official capacity in the Ukrainian military.
Okay, I'm going to get my two reasons out before we address the fact that you support Russia in their efforts to invade the sovereign country of Ukraine. Ooh, one of my lights just went out. I guess that one's done. Anyway, the second reason is, let me just ask you a question before I give you my second reason, which is that do you recognize that Russia, historically, in the last, like in living memory since World War II, has represented a serious threat to the United States national security?
It's exactly the opposite. NATO's original instantiation is actually just to contain the Soviet Union. So it's anti-communist.
The country that we had recently a decades-long Cold War with is not a threat to American national security.
Why do you think that NATO was established?
To address the big threat that Russia is to national security in America.
According to you,
and the other countries in NATO, of course, there's a group effort.
According to you, yeah.
And
Russia poses no
NATO,
threat
according to me and everybody the fuck else.
Russia posed no threat to the United States in this way. It was the other way around.
You don't.
NATO has always been an aggressive.
We just have a pro. Okay, so I'll just because the audience is probably curious. It's obviously not going to work on you because you support Russia for some reason. We'll talk about that. But the reason I have this selfish reason for supporting our aid in Ukraine, which is that if you think that it's a good thing to reduce Russia's military might, it sounds like you don't. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you do think that, like most Americans do, it's actually a pretty remarkably cheap way to accomplish that we've done. We didn't have to send any soldiers. We just sent some money and gear, and now Ukraine has been fighting this years-long war of attrition that has resulted in Russia's military might, both in manpower and equipment and all of that, fuel resources, everything. We have cut their military power in half, less at this point, because that's an old statistic. And that was a really cheap thing for us to do. It was hundreds of billions of dollars, which is lots of money, but relative to the normal amount of money we spend worrying about Russia over the last few decades, it was a real win that it's like, wait a minute. You're gonna kill most of Russia's servicemen. You're gonna destroy most of their tanks. You're gonna get rid of most of their missiles. They're gonna use up their bullets and MREs and food, and all we have to do is send Ukraine a few $100 billion. Good deal if you don't like Russia. Sounds like you like Russia, though.
Wouldn't say I like them. They have their issues, right? But I think that they were justified in the SMO, albeit strategically it seems like they made some blunders. But yeah, ultimately they were justified in the SMO. You
support Russia's invasion of Ukraine? By the way, you're using Putin's label. You're calling the war in Ukraine special military operations, right? That's what SMO stands for?
Yeah, that's what they still consider it. They only use 25% of the military.
That's false. They've depleted more than half of their resources militarily.
If you want to talk about hotly contested, stats that are thrown around, that's basically fog of war propaganda.
Yeah, the numbers aren't going to be accurate. That's right. I'll give you that. But again, even if it is only 25%, the price tag on getting that 25% reduction in their capabilities was incredibly cheap. But you're pro-Russia, so you don't care. You think that's a bad thing.
No, I just support them against what they consider an existential threat to their sovereignty. It seems very obvious that the United States.
If we want to talk about sovereignty, can we talk about the sovereignty that was granted by Russia to Ukraine in the 90s at the fall of the Soviet Union, where I'm going to finish. Yes, they had a treaty. They had a treaty where, in exchange for sovereignty, Ukraine gave up their nuclear arms program. That happened in the 90s.
Coerced by shock doctrine, State Department gibberish, that was the single greatest degradation in living conditions and human life expectancy since in any war ever.
What they traded was Ukraine's nuclear program for Ukraine's sovereignty. Russia broke their promise. Are you okay with Russia breaking their promise?
Under duress. I just think that these things are much more complex from a geopolitical standpoint. But what
duress were they under? The Soviet Union had fallen, and satellite states were getting broken up,
and it was being run by this type of what's called shock doctrine, which led to the largest drop in life expectancy in human history outside of a war.
And you think that Ukraine is responsible for that happening in Russia?
No, I'm just saying that, you're saying, Ukraine made this, even deal. And I'm saying at the fall of the Soviet Union, it was in such complete disarray that was precipitated by the forces of the West, principally in America.
Yes or no? Is Ukraine responsible for these problems in Russia? That was the question. You didn't answer it. Yes or no?
What problems in Russia?
The ones you just described, the population decline, the economic struggles, because yes, Russia has
United States is.
Okay, the question again is...
Ukraine is just an example of how it was balkanized.
We're talking about Ukraine. We're talking about the current war. What I'm saying is that when Russia invaded Crimea in 2014, they violated, was it the 1994 Budapest Accord? Is that what I saw in the chat? Where Russia, I don't remember if that's the wrong...
Didn't they hold a vote?
The point is that Russia agreed to not invade Ukraine, granted them sovereignty for them to give up their nuclear program. That happened, and then 20 years later, in 2014, Russia invaded Crimea, which violated that accord. I'm asking if you're okay with Russia violating its accords.
My understanding of the Crimean situation was that there was a vote. The people wanted to be annexed.
But that doesn't answer my question. The question is that when a country grants another country sovereignty in a major breakup, which happened at the fall of the Soviet Union in the 90s, and they establish those borders and they say, as long as you guys don't develop nuclear weapons, we are going to grant you your sovereignty and never invade in you, you think it's okay for Russia to invade them anyway?
Are we talking about Ukraine or Crimea?
Crimea is part of Ukraine, or was when this deal was made.
Okay. So the historical conditions changed, and Russia deemed it appropriate to protect their own sovereignty to allow this annexation.
If I owed you $100 and my economic conditions changed, I might deem it not a good thing to keep paying you back, and I might stop. That's still a violation of the agreement, yes?
Well, it's a hypothetical. This is a geopolitical situation.
Yeah, we don't even need a hypothetical because you're saying that the conditions in Russia changed, so they went back on their deal. Do you think that we should just betray all of our treaties if our conditions change?
Well, that was an undialectical reading of the situation because there is the Russian side of it. You're taking the Western narrative, right? There is a contention to that, which is Russia saying that yes, this may be violating the letter of the law of this agreement, but also the entire West and NATO, run obviously by America, that they have violated their tacit agreements during the dissolution of the Soviet Union as well. So this is now removed from a kind of mutually beneficial agreement among two sovereign nations, and they view it as a way to protect their sovereignty.
If I wanted to
have to agree with it, but you have to admit that this is contentious depending on where you are.
It just sounds to me like you're calling it American imperialism for us to resist Russian imperialism, which it is for Russia to throw out an accord that grants another country its sovereignty in exchange for a nuclear program.
I don't consider it imperialism because I adhere to Lenin's definition of imperialism, from which Russia
another old definition that's probably not applicable to what people mean today when they say imperialism. Tell me what imperialism is.
Imperialism is what Lenin describes as the highest at that point form of capitalism, mostly predicated by finance capitalism that exports capital into other countries to extract resources.
Okay, and you're just so if we send soldiers to kill the people in that country, that's not imperialism because it doesn't meet that definition?
If we send soldiers to what country? What are you referencing to?
I'm just trying to understand what you mean when you say imperialism, because this conversation suggests to me that you and I mean very different things by imperialism.
Military action is a big part of it, but military action is to secure the capital interests downstream of finance capital, according to Lenin.
Why are you listening to Lenin for your definitions? It's 2026.
Because Lenin's definition of imperialism is actually the only way we talk about imperialism in modernity, unless you weren't talking about Michael Hudson, who just talks about a kind of U.S. super imperialism post Bretton Woods system. Let's say
you're right about all it. Let's say that you're right about all this nonsense, and I think, oh my God, my guest has educated me on what all this is. I'm so wrong about Russia and Ukraine and what imperialism is.
I'm just saying there's another side to it. I would like to get back to the Democrats as worshiping institutions.
What should I go read? I hypothetically, if I think you're right about all this and I think I'm the fool and I should get educated in the way that you so brilliantly are, what should I go read? Where do I start to think the way that you do?
You should read Michael Hudson's Super Imperialism. It describes the current establishment of the dollar as the reserve currency of the world.
Michael Hudson's what?
Super Imperialism.
Super Imperialism. Okay, interesting. I will take a look at that later. Let's go back to the Democrats. What's your problem with the Democrats again?
Mostly that they seem to worship, like from a broad perspective, they worship form over content, and the way that gets expressed is that they worship the institutions within America that basically are just either outright shells or directly the interest, the kind of collected interest of finance and monopoly capital.
You're like word salading a bunch of talking points, but no, dude, I think what Democrats are trying to do is feed hungry children. Stuff like that.
I think the Democrats act as controlled opposition, and they do not actually fulfill their promises, and they have actually committed some of the most atrocious backpedaling of the material conditions in the United States that have happened over the last 30, 40 years, especially Barack Obama's bailing out of the banks and not prosecuting anyone in the financial crisis.
Yeah, I have some criticisms of how he handled that, but again, you just gave this big explanation of what Democrats want, and it didn't align with any policy positions of any Democrats in the last couple of decades. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because they don't fulfill their promises. They're controlled opposition, in my opinion.
it's not your opinion what other people think. I'm telling you what Democrats generally think, what the policy positions
there's
are.
a difference between thought and action, right?
The actions that they take, the bills that they propose, the things that they vote on as elected members of our government, the things that they vote for, the things that they do actions on are not what you're saying. We're trying to feed the hungry. We're trying to build some roads. We're trying to make life easier for the average American. We're trying to make sure that people have their rights protected. Like, that's what Democrats are about. That's what liberals are about.
And yet, drone warfare was unleashed under Obama, Syrian conflict, Libya.
I'm highly critical of Obama's use of drones. I talk about it all the time. But again,
Joe Biden's extra legal crushing of the Railroad Strikers Act, which is the worst labor union violation since Reagan, like, for example. The not codifying Roe versus Wade made a supermajority, the not prosecuting of the banks that destroyed.
I'm just saying the same things over again, but I described some policy positions.
These are massive shifts in the material conditions of America. They also oversaw
but Democrats are trying to pass policy that materially improves the living conditions of the average American, the buying power, the take-home money. That can be
purchasing power can only be. Well, here's the problem. Is that in order to make things more affordable, you have to make things cheaper. You don't just raise wages because, obviously.
I agree. You can't, it's economically difficult to get wages to increase.
The way that you make things cheaper is in reindustrializing America, but that is going against the interests of finance capital who donates.
Biden did lots of work to reindustrialize America. He opened more oil for drilling. He had an infrastructure bill that created a lot of government spending that helped people improve the country while taking money home because they get paid for that work. So that's something that Biden did. What is Trump doing that's going to lower prices?
Nothing.
I'm glad you recognize that. I guess you said you're not a Trump supporter, but I just dude, I am not. I don't understand your political position at all. Did you vote for Kamala Harris?
Oh my God, absolutely not.
Why not? Who did you vote for?
Xi Jinping from China.
You voted.
You should take him.
You voted.
Yeah, right in.
You voted. You wrote in the leader of China in the 2024.
The only serious leader on the world stage. Yeah, the only one.
Is this a troll, dude? What is?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I just understand the political. I'm a Marxist-Leninist, so
okay, yeah. I'm willing to talk about some of this stuff because I'm actually pretty educated on the old school philosophy enough to kind of dodge your
old school. It's not old school. China's Marxist-Leninist. They're outcompeting the U.S., so it's not old school. It's very relevant today. I'm gonna
drop you because I just don't think it's a good use of my live stream to talk to somebody who I dropped him is going to he voted for the leader of China in the 2024 election and thinks that giving aid to Ukraine is American imperialism, but Russia invading Ukraine is somehow not imperialism. It's nonsense. Monk is back. I've talked to Monk before, but after I ask how old he is, I'm going to ask him to also remind me what we talked about before, because I don't remember. Monk, how old are you?
I'm 68.
What did we talk about last time? I do remember your username.
I forget exactly. It was interesting.
Not a big deal. What do you want to talk about today?
I just wanted to address a silliness as that guy who was just here said.
Are you a Trump supporter?
No, God, no. I like the idea of working financial markets.
All right, I hear you. I am going to kick you. You can call back towards the end of the show. It's just because it's bad for the live stream to have friendlies up. That's all. Nothing personal. I appreciate you calling in. But please don't call in unless you're a Trump supporter. So maybe I don't appreciate him calling in. He can call in later. It's no big deal. No big deal. But we don't have anybody in the queue right now, so I'll take a moment to remind everybody to get double tapping away on the screen. How many likes do we have? 16,000 after an hour. That's actually low for me, though it is Monday. People are at work. It's 11:06 a.m. in my time zone. Let's see if we can get OrangeLazarus is back, dude. Dude, you voted for the leader of China in 2024. I don't think it's a good use of my time to talk to you. And I certainly don't think you're going to convince anybody else to do the same. I also think that if the leader of China won the U.S. presidential election, I was about to say that he wouldn't become the U.S. president, but I think, no, he actually would. He would just take over America and give it to China. The other two branches probably wouldn't do that. OrangeLazarus, stop trying. I'm going to decline you again. You can call in a different day and try again. You are not allowed on my show today. Stop trying. You will get banned if you keep trying. So thanks everybody for double tapping away on the screen. We're already up to 18,000 likes. If we got up to 30,000 likes in the next 10 minutes by 11:17 a.m., I bet we'd get a caller in here because that would get some reviewers in here. If you are in the chat and you disagree with me about anything at all or just want to defend Trump or any of his policies, you are welcome to hit the request button on your screen and come have a conversation with me. I think I've been reasonably well-tempered today. because the calls have been functional in terms of a conversation, but nonsensical in terms of the content. But that is kind of what I do on here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Ooh, elchicotech.edu is back. You want to talk about how the left is the party of violence? Yeah, maybe we could talk about that. elchicotech.edu. elchicotech.edu is an interesting guest. You're the guy who would starve 100 kids just to starve one more, right? That clip. Let's see. That clip I posted to Instagram this morning. Let's see how many views it has. It has 19,000 cooking away. So thanks for the clip, elchicotech.edu. I'm pretty sure that was you who said that you would literally get rid of a food program that saved 100 kids if one of the kids was technically ineligible for it. In other words, you would starve 99 children to make sure that you starved an additional child. If that was you, go ahead and hit request, and maybe we can talk about something else, and I can get more fodder to advertise this show on Instagram, and more clips where people will say it's not worth your time talking to these people, and then I have to reply to it and say a lot of the conversations I have on here are quite productive, but they don't make good Instagram reels. So the Instagram reels that you see are the more high energy, obnoxious moments. But if you want to see if I actually have some productive conversations, you can come watch the entire show here on TikTok or after the fact on YouTube, because I'm officially caught up, and today's show is going to be posted to YouTube today, and tomorrow's show will be posted to YouTube tomorrow. So I'm caught up on that. elchicotech.edu is in the chat defending starving 100 kids if the reason that the one kid didn't deserve it was because of fraud. Dude, you can come up and talk to me about that again if you want. I bet the chat would love it. But please do hit the request button if you disagree with me about literally anything at all. You don't have to talk about the prompt. The prompt is always just the little creative writing exercise I do before every live to put something different in the background every week. And I was in a hurry today, and I'm not impressed with my handwriting. I spaced out the word can't too much. Looks a little silly, but I almost forgot to make the sign, so I made it last minute. I'm so glad I have complete moral clarity. Oh yeah, people are clowning on elchicotech.edu in the chat. How much longer am I going to be on? Another hour until about noon, maybe a little after if we have a good call going, or if certain friendlies want to call in and talk. Sorry. Keep burping, which is bad for like the radio element of this. But I'm a little under the weather today. I've got a tummy ache. Anyway, Orange Bomb says, Democrats are trying to feed kids, ignores bombing kids in the Middle East. Yeah. I actually have another clip that got millions of views where it was a guy saying that how are we going to pay for all these social programs? And I responded that we need to stop bombing kids in Iran. And then, of course, I went on to actually explain more ways that we can do that. You left out, you have no understanding of finances. You're talking to me, Monk? I don't know. I don't get the point. But we've got Mechanic 2953 in the queue. I hope this is a Trump supporter or somebody who disagrees with me massively on something. But the first question always is, how old are you, Mechanic?
Yo, what's going on? I'm 22 years old.
I believe you. You sound like an adult. Do you support Trump?
I did vote for Trump. I don't support him entirely. I'm a single issue voter, so there are several things that I disagree with him pretty severely on. But
what is that single issue?
Yeah, the single issue is maintaining consistent SMEX-based understandings of the categories man and woman within legislation, and not capitulating to externally unfalsifiable self-proclamations of identity.
Okay, so you threw away everything else in American politics to make sure that the label that we put on a population that is less than 1% of the population is one that you agree with.
Well, the legislation I'm referring to affects more than 1% of the population, right? I didn't say trans people in specific. I said trans-inclusive legislation, which affects every male and female person, and their expectation away from the opposite sex in states of vulnerability, undress, and fleeing the opposite sex's violence.
Okay. What do you have any evidence on how widespread a problem that is?
On how widespread a problem it is for female people not to have the expectation away from males in states of vulnerability and undress? I can substantiate that with empirical evidence. Sure, yeah. I would just say that male people perpetrate 98% of sexual and violent crimes against women and children. And given that understanding...
Wait. Who it's amazing that I'm about to say this, but I'm going to ask you to slow down. 98% of crimes, what? Say that claim again?
98% of sexual crimes of violence against
You can say sexual crimes on my show, just to be clear. It's really grating on my ears, and I push back on the TikTok speak. So you can say sexual crimes. What about...
Okay, yes. Okay. Yeah, 98% of sexual crimes of violence are perpetrated by male people.
Yes.
Right. Would you admit that that's regardless of any unfalsifiable identity claim? So
no. People who are trans commit far fewer sex crimes than other members of the population. They're a group that do it far less than is average. If you bundle them in with the rest of men, then yes, but because they're both biologically male.
I didn't say anything about men.
okay, I corrected myself immediately. If you're going to bundle them in as male and say if it's X or Y chromosomes, like if we're going to go by the
Chromosomes don't define being male.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. That's intersex exclusive. Do you know what Swyer syndrome is?
Yeah, I'm familiar with
female people with XY chromosomes.
Okay. Yeah, there's an even smaller part of the demographic that are like hermaphrodites and intersex and that sort of thing. But what I'm saying is that if you
no one is male and female.
Dude,
that's also
slow
incorrect.
down. I'm trying to understand.
Well, I'm highlighting your propositions which are incorrect.
Yeah.
No, people are male and female. Chromosomes don't define sex, and I never reference men.
Okay.
So go ahead and reframe your argument in the context.
Okay. If you're going to bundle trans women in with males, which I actually would, due to my correct understanding of what labels a person as a biological... Right. If you only look at that, then yes, they are in that group that is responsible for most of the sex crimes. But almost all of those sex crimes are committed by the males in that group that are not trans. If you only look at the trans group, they commit almost none of the sex crimes.
Great. Okay, yeah, let's dive into that. So would you postulate then that trans women would perpetuate female pattern criminality or male pattern criminality, or somewhere in the middle?
I would say that they're such a unique group, irrespective to cis members of the population, that we should study them as their own group.
Yeah, I think we should study them as their own group as well. But I'm asking you, if we were to study them as their own group, would you presume or assume that trans women would be closer to male pattern criminality or female pattern criminality in the domain of sexual crimes of violence?
I'm going to speculate because I don't know the exact data across all issues, but I would expect them to reflect female criminality more.
Okay, that's very interesting, and I think that does suggest a lack of research in this area, given that it's evident that there is deviation from male pattern criminality, but it is much closer to male than it is female. More than happy to provide some substantiation.
Okay, so there's a subset. There's a subset of the male population, because you consider trans women to be members of the male population. I do too. I think we agree about that for different reasons, but we do agree about that. What I'm saying is that they're a subset of that population, a very small subset of that population, that has broken away from the average criminality of males, because males are on average far more criminal than females. And your single issue as a voter is the fact that less than 1% of the males have broken away and commit less crimes, and you're worried about them instead of the rest of the men?
Well, committing less crimes it's not going to address the discrepancy between male and female pattern of perpetration of that domain of criminality, given like the discrepancy 98%, right? Even if trans women deviated by like 90%, the vast majority of that crime would still be by male people, inclusive
among males, why are you more concerned with the subset of the males who are less criminal than the rest of the males on average?
Because those are the subset of males that are legally allowed to enter sex-segregated spaces given the gender recognition certificate that acknowledges them as female people. So in spaces like domestic violence shelters, prisons, psych wards, drug rehabilitation facilities, those are that are designated for women.
Do you have any? Okay, so but the problem is that if you want to say that, I first of all need evidence on the claim that these trans individuals. Let me finish. If we can look it up in a second if you want to look at it specifically. But if you're saying that the trans members of the male population, the biologically male population, who are allowed to use things like women-only spaces and women-only resources are causing a greater deal of crime, what I would come back and say is, one, I need evidence of that claim. I need empirical evidence about criminology, about exactly what is actually happening in the world. And the other thing that I need is to ask, if we force those trans people to then go into male-only spaces, do you not at all care about the crimes that then they are subject to because they are with the group of people who are most likely to victimize them?
Yeah, so I'll respond to both of those, absolutely. So first of all, the empirical evidence, I just posted two references in your chat, one to the UK Bureau of Prison Statistics that indicate that trans women perpetrate male pattern criminality, another one for an advocacy organization outlining similar statistics from broader populations outside of the UK. And to address the second point, absolutely, I think we should be striving towards trans-inclusive solutions. I just don't think that those solutions have to come at the cost of existing protections and provisions and boundaries for female people. I don't think we have to undermine those to accommodate this group of male people who.
All right, we're going to talk about the issue that Republicans actually talk about with trans issues. Let me just ask the question straightforwardly. Do you think that if we're just going to make every trans person in America, every trans woman in America is going to do A or B, and A is they're going to use the women's room, where you're concerned that they will then assault the women who are in that women's room, or B, they're going to use the men's room, where I'm concerned that the men in that men's room are going to assault them for walking in with a dress, potentially looking like a non-passing trans person. Which of those outcomes do you think is worse? The concern that the trans people are going to be assaulted by the men, or the concern that the trans women are going to assault the cis women?
I think the situation that I would advocate much more for would be for trans women going into male spaces.
I'm not asking which you would prefer. I'm asking which one would result in more crime.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that, right?
I think I know the answer, which is that there's more crime when you expose trans women to the group that you admit is the most violent criminal group, which is cis males.
Well, I would speculate that the victimization statistics you're using to substantiate that claim include misgendering as a form of violence, given that is discrimination.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about physical.
Sex.
I'm not talking about them being called the wrong name. I'm talking about them being physically assaulted.
Okay, yeah, sure. Do you want to give me the empirical evidence, like I've given to you, for my claim that they perpetrate male pattern criminality?
All right, let's look at you. Let's look at your resource for the fact that trans people commit these crimes. What do I search
Not
to find?
Trans people. Never said trans people. No.
All right, what is the source that you gave me? Let's look at it.
Yeah, sure. You can just copy it in the chat, or I can read it to you directly.
Just tell me the name of the article and the website so I can type it into Google right now.
Committees.parliament.uk.
Oh, God, I can't type today. Parliament. Is that how it's spelled? .uk. By the way, the UK has a terrible track record of
undermining the statistic before we've been read it. Okay, yeah, go ahead. /written evidence.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that .govs are not
.gov.
Slow down. I'm saying that .govs are not always the best resource for things, and the .uk is the committees.parliament.uk is going to be a government resource from UK, and UK has
which is why along with that
I'm
study,
pointing out that the UK has a terrible track
that are indicating the same thing. Right?
Alan Turing unalived himself because he was chemically castrated for being gay. The UK has a really terrible track record on LGBTQ plus rights. That's all I'm saying. What's the name of the article?
Which is exactly why I gave you an advocacy organization that outlines a litany of sources outside of the UK that indicate the same thing.
Okay, what do I type to get?
I've already said that, right?
What do I? Yeah, you keep saying it over and over again. What do I type to get this article?
And you keep responding with the same refutation. Yeah, committees.parliament.uk /written evidence /18973
I can't
PDF.
type
I've
that.
read it to you.
Dude, I'm a fast talker, but I don't talk that fast when I'm getting somebody to type something because I'm not an asshole. So just tell me the name of the article.
/.
I'm not asking for a URL. I am asking for the name of the article so people who are less technologically literate than me can watch this show and follow along at home. What is the name of the article?
The remainder of the URL is literally shorter than the article name, so unless you want to type it in.
My show, these are my rules. You're either going to give me the name of this article or not.
I'll give you the link or you can take your L, buddy.
If you think that following the rules of my show and giving me the website name and then the name of the article so that other people who are not as good most people don't know what a URL, dude. People aren't technologically literate.
Do you want the article ID? I'll give you the article ID.
I want the article title.
18973. I've given you the link. I've given you the article ID.
18973. 18973. I'm trying to be inclusive of my audience and make sure it's as easy for them as possible.
Fuck your trans inclusive audience. I don't give a shit. Look up the article, my dude.
I'm gonna kick you for saying the words "fuck your trans inclusive audience." I think it's a little too hateful for what I do here. He said the number out loud. Everybody can go research his nonsense if you want. That Philbro was really good at regurgitating his talking points. You can hear how many times he's recited them. The fascinating thing about me talking quickly is that the things that I say quickly on my show are not things that I've rehearsed. Every episode is a brand new snowflake. Sometimes I say the same sentence over and over again. There's a couple of little particular talking points that I have rehearsed, but I'm actually an improv actor. That's what I did by education as a teenager, and I taught public speaking for years. So I'm able to speak this quickly, completely saying novel things. I don't have to regurgitate nonsense to speak this quickly. Every now and then I trip over my speech and I stutter and you catch me in the middle because, yeah, I am actually coming up with all these things on the spot. We're going to talk to living an intentional life, living an intentional life, . He's going to start the call by telling us how old he is. Living an intentional life. How old are you?
I am 38, Oscar.
Okay. Are you a Trump supporter?
I am.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
So I was just going off the last gentleman's point because you were saying that males commit more crimes, and I was just going to say that of course males commit more crimes. They have testosterone, which makes them more aggressive. That's the nature of being a male.
Yep.
So
men commit way more crimes. Men are way
of course, because they're bred to be aggressive. It's in their DNA to be aggressive in many ways, shapes, and forms. And society curbs that aggression by training them in certain ways to not be as aggressive. So
yeah, I think that humans are kind of like across the board, like animalistic monsters, and society has done this really cool thing where through like education and culture and learning and reading and writing and language, we've gotten better. So it sounds like we agree on all that. Men are highly more criminal than women on average. That's not really disputed by anybody except for a couple of people who think, no, everybody's equal. No. Men have worse natural proclivities than women. What's the argument?
So I would say it's not that MAGA can't handle being wrong. It's the fact that, again, everything that comes from MAGA is cast to be wrong from a liberal sense of view. So I don't agree with everything that liberals do, but there's some things that they state that can be factual that I will concede to. But like you'll concede to nothing that MAGA is a proponent to. Like, I'll tell you right now, I worked in the space.
I'm just gonna cut you off because I don't think that you know me personally. You're probably balling me into.
I talked to you already. I watch you live all the time.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that it is false that I flatly refuse everything claimed by Republicans. A lot of Republicans claim, for example, that 20 million illegal immigrants were let into the country by Joe Biden, which is false. But a lot of them say the more sensible thing, which is that millions more illegal immigrants entered the country during Joe Biden's administration than normally do, which I will admit happily is factually correct because I'm not aligning my facts to my party, and my party generally does admit that that's true because it is true. So what?
Yeah, of course.
So your accusation of me is wrong.
No. What I'm just going off your prompt. It's clickbait. Again, I'm just going off what you're saying. And I'm going to go off the trans thing that we were just talking about. I've worked in the space with trans people before, and I think on the majority, they mean well in what they're doing, but again, it's a mental illness. And it was categorized in the DSM-5 for years being gender dysphoria, and now we're coming to a point where we're accepting kind of a delusion of being an opposite sex than they actually are.
Okay,
and we all know that
you have the First Amendment right to disagree with these people. Why does it matter which bathroom they use?
Well, because it impacts other people using those same bathrooms.
I laid out in the previous call that if we force trans women to use the men's room, I'm concerned that they're going to be assaulted by the men in that men's room. Whereas if we let them use the women's room, we don't expect there to be much crime because generally trans women don't assault women. That's like a made up problem. It's not something that happens with any meaningful statistical prevalence.
I don't think they're going to get assaulted in male bathrooms.
I do. I really do.
But that's where we disagree. I don't think it's going to happen. The likelihood of assault occurring is equal wherever they're going.
So I think that they're more likely. I think that they're more likely to get assaulted.
Why are you yelling?
I'm interrupting you because I want to get to the crux of this point, which is that I'm claiming that more crime happens if we make them use the men's room. You're saying that more crime happens if they use the women's room. Where's your evidence for that?
So I'd say this: can a male not follow a trans woman into a woman's bathroom? Can that not happen and still commit the crime? So your point is not valid.
Well, that would be the case regardless of which bathroom they're supposed to use. So it doesn't make a difference.
No, but what I'm saying is that, again, to make people more comfortable socially, like we just talked about, people get trained socially.
We're not trying to make people more comfortable. We're trying to make people safer. We're trying to prevent crime from happening.
Yes, that's being safer. I would not want my young daughter going in the bathroom with a trans woman. I would not want that.
Okay, that's unfortunate for you. There's lots of things in the world that you don't want. Maybe you should like get with the times and not care where.
It's not getting with the times. It's recognizing what mental illness is and getting it treated. That's what it is. I'll tell you right now. I have bipolar disorder, and sometimes when I'm off my medication, I might think that I am like Buddha or Jesus. Right? We're not going to confirm that delusion. We're going to get medicated to make sure you think logically in a sane manner.
Oh my God! How wonderful! I've been sitting here talking about trans rights all day, and a friend of mine who is trans has entered the chat. Ravensblossom.
That's great.
Very, very good to see you. Ravensblossom is a protest buddy of mine from here in Minneapolis. You want to just take it over, Raven?
Oh, how's it going? Can you hear me?
It's not going great. People are being very transphobic on my show today.
It's not transphobic.
Hey, they dropped. I hope they come back.
So Oscar, it's
You're
not
afraid
transphobic.
of what will happen to your daughter because of a trans person going into the bathroom. That is being transphobic.
It's not afraid. It's just what's proper in social settings, Oscar. That's what I'm talking about.
The reason you don't think it's proper is because you're transphobic.
No, it's not that I'm trans. Oscar, I've taught meditation and yoga to people that are trans. They suffer from not only gender dysphoria, but other mental issues on top of what they're already suffering from.
Okay, I'd ask you to just slow down a moment because I'm inviting my friend. What do I call you as a first name? Is it just Raven?
Raven, yeah.
Raven, yeah. I know we only met briefly at the Whipple the other day, but I'm just going to let you take the floor. I don't know how long you've been listening.
Hi, I've been here a little while. So, guest, if you think I'm mentally disabled, then what?
Cutting in and out, Raven.
Unfortunately, I have ass signal.
Okay, here, try again.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, so if I'm so mentally disabled, why was I able to work on nuclear missiles for 6 years with a top secret security clearance?
But again, what's your status now in that?
checks.
What's your status now in that? People that recognize what it is don't allow you to work on those areas anymore.
Yes, because we have a bigot in the office. Duh.
It's not a bigot. Again, people that are trans.
Also, have you ever read any of the research that shows that neurologically trans people identify with their gender? There's neurological evidence.
Okay, that's great. Can I speak and I'll let you go right afterwards?
But you can deny reality? Sure, go ahead.
It's not denying reality. Ready? There's two sexes in
Yes,
the
we know
biological
that.
world. There's two sexes, right?
Yes,
Again,
we know that.
what you're saying is a social construct made up by humans. It's not real.
Yes, gender.
Yeah,
and we transition so that our sex more closely matches our gender.
No, okay, ready? Gender, right? If you look in biological books, is male and female. That's it. You can't assign yourself by what you feel you are. You can't assign yourself.
That's a colonized version of it.
No. It's I studied biology.
You're
You
uneducated
can't tell me
doesn't
that.
mean it's fact.
You can't tell me that. I've studied biology. I have
Gender is literal, socially made up. It's not real.
No, it's not.
Sex is real.
Sex
and
and
there's male
gender.
and female.
If you look in any biology book, you look up gender. There's male and
Yes.
female too.
Gender and sex are often used interchangeably, but that does not mean they are the same thing.
The more recent the biology textbook you're looking at, the less likely it is to say that. The more likely it is to identify
because
biological
they're trying to alter
sex.
history. They're trying to
Because
alter history.
as
That's
science
why.
learns more, we update what we know.
No, it's altering history because they want to make everybody. They want to make things inclusive
Science
and go
learns
against the
new
facts.
things, sir. And when you learn new things, you update the textbooks.
No, again, you can't change science. Like hard science doesn't usually change because of a social
Usually doesn't.
movement. Yeah,
Usually doesn't.
but so again,
So
it's changing because of a
there's
social
always
movement.
something, right?
No, but we're changing because of a social movement, trying to make people more
No,
included.
we're changing because we learned neurological sciences that approve of transgender people's identities.
I don't like identity. So I'll give you the example again that I just gave to Oscar. Right, I'm bipolar. Okay, and when I think and I'm manic, I think I'm Jesus or Buddha. Okay, we're not going
Yes,
to
and you have a hormonal or whatever imbalance in your brain.
that's not right. Okay, but again, I think I am
Chemical.
something else other than I am. Okay, and that's a mental illness, right? Why
That's a
doesn't
chemical
the same?
imbalance.
Why
And we
doesn't the
have,
same? Why doesn't
like,
the same thing
science
exist for trans
based on what
people
led to
when
that.
they believe there's something else other than they are? It's the same thing.
Because we have neurological evidence that backs it up. What aren't you getting about
There's no
that?
neurological evidence that backs it up. What are you talking about?
There's literal science and
Yeah, the neuroscientists have figured out some interesting things about it. I don't think that the neuroscientists have figured out anything that supports the idea that you are the Buddha.
No. There's no hard science that confirms
Yes, there
that.
literally is.
There isn't though. There's not.
You can literally go to Google right now and find it.
So again, who's funding these
I'm
studies and
guessing
who's
you're not
trying
going
to
to
approve?
Google.
Who's
He's moving the
trying
goalposts to the
Google.
funding of the studies.
No. This is. But it
I'm guessing you're still not
matters.
going to Google.
I am on my phone. I can't go to Google. I'll get off the live.
thought so.
Look at that. I'm such a professional. I'm ready with the Google. What do I Google, Raven?
I don't have the specific studies. I'm literally getting my
where's
car
her
fixed at the
empirical
moment,
evidence?
but
I'll do my
Go ahead,
best.
her too, Oscar.
yeah.
You guys keep talking. I'll find some evidence.
So again, it's a mental illness, and I will not get off that hill. It's a mental illness. And again,
So,
I'm not saying they're
if
bad
you think
people.
it's a mental illness, let's talk about that, sir. What do you do with a mental illness? You treat it. And what have
Yes.
the professional medical professionals decided that the best course of action is? It's treating the gender dysphoria by matching the sex as closely as you can to the gender.
So I've worked with the community before, right? In
Congratulations,
a
I
capacity.
am trans, so shut
That's
the fuck
great.
up.
So okay, how often do people end up still having severe psychological effects after even getting the transition surgery and confirming their
Studies
gender?
have shown that it greatly alleviates the stress that they feel. And the only stress that they continue... Shut the fuck up while I'm talking.
Don't
And the
tell
only
me to
stress
shut the
that they
fuck up. You do the same thing to me. Relax.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
Raven is
while I talk.
allowed to tell you to shut the fuck up because it's my live and I declare the rules, and you are not allowed to tell Raven to shut the fuck up because it's my show and I declare the rules.
You're a crony. You're a crony,
Hey,
dude. You're
be
a
a good
liberal
boy.
crony.
Be a
You're a
good
liberal
boy.
crony.
Follow
Be a
the
good
rules
boy.
of the live.
Quiet.
You're a liberal
Be a good
crony.
boy.
I'm going to make Raven
Don't tell me to
Blossom's
be a good
account a
boy.
moderator.
Go ahead.
You have moderation
All right, you're gonna be a
privileges
good
now,
boy?
Raven.
Thanks. Good boy. All right, so...
Don't tell me good boy. What are you doing?
Oh, you triggered. Anyways.
I'm not triggered. You're triggered.
The medical professionals have decided that treating gender dysphoria with either hormone replacement replacement
therapy, you mean?
Therapy. Yep. Yes, I can stutter. Thank you. Is the best course of action. So why would you deny what the overwhelming medical community has come to the conclusion of just so that you can be hateful?
The evidence on the screen, by the way, is a meta-analysis of numerous studies done by doctors, assessing the results of all of them and coming to a general conclusion, which is that transgender persons differed significantly from cisgender persons with respect to subcortical brain volumes and surface area, but not cortical thickness. Now, unless you understand the difference between cortical thicknesses and cortical brain volumes, which I doubt you do because you're not a neuroscientist, the important part here is that they do, in fact, differ from cisgender people in significant ways, just not always. That's what this says.
Can we make this aware? This thing aware as well too. So again, the medical community stands to make millions of dollars off of these surgeries.
If you really believe that, then there's really no point in having this debate.
Yeah, because you asked for evidence and we pulled it up, and then you moved the goalposts again. So
I'm not moving any goalposts. I'm saying exactly what is fact. They stand to make millions of dollars off these surgeries and these hormone therapies.
If that's why they're doing it. If you honestly believe that people dedicate their entire lives to medicine only to then sell out as a whole,
you don't think they sell out? You're an idiot. Then
you're just delusional.
If they're that capitalistically driven, going after transgender affirming care is not the right approach. They should go after heart disease or cancer or diabetes or something that almost everybody faces at some point in their life.
So many people.
If you think that they would focus on selling out for trans people, you're just stupid.
What are you talking about? They stand to make millions of dollars because of that. Why would they not sell out?
And they can make billions by selling out for cancer.
Doctors can't make billions of dollars a year. A single doctor's not going to make that. I'm talking about the average physician.
If you sell a pharmaceutical solution to cancer, yes, you can.
Literally. No, let's get only a little rich by selling out to trans people. You're fucking delusional, dude.
No, you're delusional. So again, you think that they don't stand to make money off of this? You're wrong. And also, you don't think that
if they've came up any other way.
If they've came up with the solution,
if you really think that, you're just stupid, dude.
No, I think you're stupid.
There's really no point in debating.
I think you're delusional. So I think at the bottom line is that if you can't recognize that they stand to make millions of dollars, do you have any evidence that
doctors are selling out in mass for trans people?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
What do I Google to find that evidence?
Just look up if doctors can be compromised at all. In their treatments.
That's not the claim. The claim is that doctors are shilling for trans. Like you changed the claim is the moment I asked you what to Google.
Oscar, you're not going to have empirical evidence for every claim, dude. You have to
not the ones that you make. We found empirical evidence for the claims we're making. You ignored it.
What are you talking about? That's not true.
I pulled up this empirical evidence for my claim, and you ignored it. People can roll back the episode on YouTube and check.
Tell me what that means in layman's terms.
Okay? What I will do it again because I just think you literally.
Tell me what it means in layman's terms.
I'm doing that again. I'll do that in just a couple of seconds. I just want to remind everybody that I already did that, and you weren't listening. So I will tell you again that the result of this meta-analysis. By the way, a meta-analysis is when you take all the studies you can find on a topic.
I know what a meta-analysis is. What is this?
Look, you're exercising your egocentrism by saying that you know that.
You're doing the same.
I'm doing a show that hundreds of people watch and thousands and millions of people watch on my other accounts when it gets posted after. So I'm explaining it to the audience because I educate people on here. Are you okay with that? Or are you the only person in the room?
You can educate whoever you want, but you're being as
no, I can't because you keep interrupting me. I'm trying to explain
it. You interrupt me all the time. Stop.
I'm trying. I have to interrupt you to make sure that everybody's following the conversation. So can I explain it for everybody or not?
Dude, you're out of your mind. Go ahead.
Okay, so once again, a meta-analysis for those who don't know, which maybe the guest does. Congratulations, you get a point. I'll put a sticker on the fridge for you. You might know what that is, but a meta-analysis is when you take multiple studies that all address the same prompt, the same question, the same topic, and you look at all of them together and you combine the data and try to find the best conclusion that you can. For that reason, a meta-analysis is a way better resource on any particular claim than any particular study. They have much larger sample sizes because they necessarily include all the sample sizes of other studies. anatomies. That's what this is, and the conclusion that they met is that transgender persons differed significantly from cisgender persons with respect to, then it lists some particular neurological anatomies. But it mentions that it's not all neurological anatomies, which is obvious because men and women also have things in common. Most of our brains are in common between all people. We're talking about the differences, and this is a resource that shows that there is neurological evidence made for the claims about trans people by trans people, and that came up in a conversation where you were saying that you have a mental disorder that causes you to think that you're Buddha, and you're not going to find a meta-analysis that suggests that you are in some way right about that. So this is empirical evidence that we are right and you are wrong, and you ignored it.
So I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong, and I'll say this right now. You just proved my point, right? The trans population is different than males and females, which that brain study says. The cortical size difference of their brains shows that they're not male or female.
Literally, everybody exists on a spectrum.
They're not male or female. They're different than both males and females.
We do categorize them differently for that reason. We call them trans women instead of cis women.
Females. They're they should have a separate bathroom and a separate thing altogether.
In the biological sense, trans women are males. We admit that.
They're not. That just said it.
Trans women are males.
Trans women have Y chromosomes. Yes, true or false?
But we're not men. That's the point.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense because that's not science. That's a social.
That's versus gender.
No, that's you can say whatever you want. It's not science.
We're literally agreeing with him, and he's still denying it.
I'm showing him a meta-analysis made by scientists. Like, what is like? I don't think this guy can handle that he's wrong.
I'm not wrong. Again, you're not taking what I'm saying. That study shows that they're different than males and females.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That they're not women. They're a different category.
They're a different entity on themselves.
They differ from cisgender males and females. Of course.
So they can't claim to be men or women.
Let Raven speak.
I
don't like muting people. Let Raven speak.
All right. So, do you want to go fuck literally everything with vagina?
What are you talking about?
Just answer the question.
No, what are you talking about?
That's because people exist on a spectrum. You're attracted to a certain level of femininity, right?
No, that's like you can say whatever social construct you want. Stop trying to tease this out. There's no teasing
Follow
here.
the train.
I don't need to follow
the train.
You need to follow the train if you want to stay on the show.
I don't need to. This is a ridiculous conversation, and there's no science or facts in this. And I just
oh my god, somebody's gonna challenge my worldview. Oh my god,
he can't handle being wrong.
It's not a worldview. I'm not wrong in this, dude. You guys have been sounding insane in what you're trying to propose.
You literally can't follow a simple train of thought, dude.
Are you gonna do it or not? It's what's happening next in the show.
Cut me off. I don't care. Go ahead, do it. Drop me.
Raven, try again. Ask him the question again.
Are you attracted
I'm not answering your question. Drop me if you want to. Drop me.
Can't handle it?
Drop me.
Can't handle the call?
No, I don't need to follow this train of thought. No.
Free country. You can do whatever you want.
Wow.
If you can't handle it, you can leave.
You're a scared little man.
I'm not scared at all.
You can't answer a basic question.
Play these games. No, because you're trying to tease out something that doesn't need teasing.
It's not teasing anything. It's proving that humans exist on a spectrum.
There's no spectrum.
I'm literally
it's male
telling you
or
what
female.
the finish line is.
Can we get some baby bottles in the chat? I already see some, but everybody break out your baby bottles for the big baby. He can't handle the line of questioning.
Right.
There's nothing to be discussed on this matter if you're not going to recognize science.
You're the one denying science.
Yeah, we
literally pulled up the science and you denied it.
You proved my point. Trans people are not male or female. They're a different entity of themselves.
Dude, saying that trans people aren't male or female is actually such a nonsensical claim that generally nobody on the right or the left believes that at all. We just disagree about gender identity because we're literally sitting here telling you that trans women are in fact biologically male. We are happy to concede that because it's true.
I'm going off your
The study doesn't say whether or not they're male or female. You made that up because you taint the information that you look at with your own worldview.
Sir, not being able to understand the information given to you does not make it untrue.
It said they're different from cis male and cis female. So they have different brain structure. That is different than the norm.
Yes,
that is different.
Because we all live on a spectrum. You literally are halfway there, but you won't let me lead you to the finish line.
Wait. I'm actually just Raven, if you let me interrupt, I will just read out the second half of this results paragraph that I didn't read earlier, where it says, contrasting the four groups, trans men, trans women, cis men, cis women, the four groups, I might have said it wrong just now, but it's the four combinations that are possible. We observed a variety of patterns that not only depended on the direction of gender identity towards male or towards female, but also on the brain measure as well as the brain region examined. So again, what we're saying, the science says, is that these four groups have distinct neuroanatomy. You're claiming what exactly bathroom. Is your? That's not
a different bathroom.
Telling every establishment in America to build a new bathroom isn't a practical solution.
They had accommodate for disabilities by putting wheelchair ramps into
how about we just have gender-neutral bathrooms everywhere with stalls that go floor to ceiling? That would be a wonderful solution.
That's actually what if we're going to talk about like actually changing the infrastructure, Raven has actually stumbled upon what I always suggest on this show, which is that we drop all of this fucking nonsense, just let everybody use every bathroom, and go back to doing the work of making America great, which we haven't been able to do for the last 10 years because of Trump.
I would even agree with that.
But your poor daughter, who then has to use the same bathroom as a trans person. What about your little fifis about that?
No. What I'm saying, an all gender bathroom, it's a single bathroom that you go into. It's not a group bathroom. It's an all gender bathroom.
I mean, there are plenty of establishments that have all gender bathrooms that do just have the normal types of stalls.
I've never been to establishment.
I know that you can't comprehend that the world is bigger than your own perspective on it, but I assure you, such places exist.
I've never seen it before, so I'm just saying I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
We're both telling you that
I've never seen China. I'm pretty sure it exists.
Yes, but I've never seen an all gender bathroom that had multiple stalls in it. I've seen one single bathroom that has.
What is your argument right now? Are you just going to deny the existence of a type of bathroom that we've seen?
No, I'm just saying I haven't seen it. Why are you trying to argue, dude? Relax.
I'm trying to understand why it's so important to the conversation that you haven't seen one.
Because you're saying they exist, and I said I hadn't seen one. I was just confirming that I haven't seen one.
Okay, but you do recognize... Do you think we're lying? Do you think they exist?
I've never seen one, so I don't know.
Can you take our anecdotal evidence at face value?
Yeah, you're going to defy that claim?
These are the same people that are claiming that men are women and women are men, so I don't know. I don't know if I can trust them.
We're being pretty specific about the claims that we're making, and we are talking about the fact that there are four distinct groups. There's cis men, cis women, and trans men and trans women.
Only two of us here have brought science to this conversation.
Yeah, like you're strawmanning the argument by saying we can't tell the difference between men and women because we recognize that there are four distinct categories. Forgive me if I'm doing a bad job speaking for you, Raven, and correct me if I get anything wrong.
So again, ready? When they make the argument, right place. No, ready? So if they make the argument like can trans men get pregnant, right? Or trans women get pregnant?
Dude, not all cis women can get pregnant. Are women who've gone through menopause no longer women?
But they have a uterus, so they can.
Not all of them do. Some people, yeah, some of them, some of them because of birth defects don't have a uterus. Some of them get them removed because of cancer. No, these arguments don't hold up. No, they don't. If they're born without one, no, they don't.
I got this one. Don't worry.
Don't,
please.
No.
Go ahead. I'd love to hear you, Raven. Go ahead.
If you're willing to admit that sometimes bodies are created with imperfections, can you not understand that maybe my SRI gene misfired? And that I was supposed to be born a female?
I have no idea.
My body is wired as a female. My brain is wired as a female. My SRI gene just misfired.
Yes, again, but you would not be classified as a woman. You're a trans woman, which is a different category than an actual woman.
Yes, trans women understand that they are biologically male, however you want to put that.
But many people don't accept that. Many people don't accept that, Raven. That's the problem.
That is literally propaganda that's been fed to you by right-wing people to make trans people look crazy.
I've seen them. I've talked to them myself, and they confer to that as well. They're like, I'm a woman. I'm like, that's not true.
I'm gonna guess that you don't understand the nuance of the conversation, and it's not on them.
I've got an angle on this.
You don't understand the nuance.
Raven, can I try something with him?
Sure.
So I have this thing that I do on this show sometime where I say that we on the left, those of us who actually understand the science, as me and Raven clearly do and you clearly don't, we actually recognize that these are four distinct categories. You can keep calling me insane, but you're making yourself look insane. So just follow what I'm about to say, which is that all we're saying really is that if we have these four categories, trans men and cis men, trans women and cis women, what I'm arguing is that a sensible category to label a sensible label for the category that includes both trans women and cis women would be women. That's all we're arguing.
That is easy, yes, because trans women generally understand and adhere to, feminine traits.
Yeah. So
it's obviously not required.
So you're saying that trans women and cis women. Sorry, Raven, for talking over you, but I just wanted to clarify. Oh, sorry, Raven, you're breaking up. Try that again.
Most trans women do present mostly as women, whether it be for safety or not. But it's just easiest to
play as women, but they're not women.
Well, they tend to have.
How does that affect you?
They tend to have the hormonal chemistry of women if they get gender affirming care, and it's the hormonal differences between men and women that affect our criminality. And you're so concerned with male criminality and trans women.
I'm not saying I'm concerned with criminality.
Then why are you afraid of your daughter going into a women's room if trans people are allowed to use it? Which is what you said at the beginning of the call, if I'm not mistaken. If that wasn't the previous caller.
What I said was I did not want that to happen again because the potential for something to happen is greater with that being in place.
You realize women can also rape women, right?
I said the same thing to Oscar, and he said that's a mute point. So,
I remember you because you say mute point instead of moot point.
I know that's my bad. I know, yeah, moot point. So again,
what is the difference between a trans woman and a woman and their odds of assaulting your daughter?
So Raven, I brought this up. What stops a trans man from just going into a woman's bathroom and doing the same thing?
Technically, your policies make it easier for a cis man to walk into a women's bathroom.
No, it doesn't.
They can claim they're a trans man who's being forced.
No, your policies bathroom. Do that. Your policies do that, not mine.
No, sir. Follow my train. If you force trans people into their other bathrooms, then a cis man can just lie and say, I'm being forced into this bathroom because I'm a trans man. Whereas shut the fuck up. If we adhere, shut the fuck up.
Raven's allowed to be abrasive.
No, she's not.
Can we mute this?
Yes, she is.
We concede to all of their.
Yeah, we can mute him. Yeah, we can mute him. That's fine.
Thanks.
He's muted.
Whereas if we adhere to our rules, people generally presenting societally as women will be the only ones to go into a women's bathroom. A cis man would literally have to go through the process of dressing up as a woman and getting hormones, which is just unrealistic. Whereas if they look like a cis man,
this also gets to a further point. Sorry, you broke up. I thought you were done talking.
Why not create a separate bathroom and solve the problem in general?
Okay, wait, I just want to add one thing here, which is that none of this addresses the problem that we have no enforcement mechanism in this country for who uses what bathroom. Sexual criminals are gonna go do bad things, and what sign we hang on the wall doesn't make a fucking difference. Why do you think this is an important issue?
No, of course, and I completely agree with you, Oscar.
Your worldview only makes it easier for them.
No, it doesn't, though. I completely agree with you, Oscar. We can't prevent that from happening. But again, it opens the door,
Listen to me. What? If a male-presenting person walks into a bathroom under my worldview, I would question why they're there, right? Under your worldview, they can just say, I'm a trans man, and you have to let that go.
No, these policies were never in place in the first place. They stem from what your candidates and
you're not even addressing what I said.
No, I am.
No, you're not.
These started all because of this political.
I literally have said if a male presenting person walks into a women's restroom, I would question that under my worldview. Whereas under your worldview, I would have to let them in if they said they're a trans man who's being forced into that bathroom.
That's not true. That is only because people
How would I enforce that?
Because you just create a separate bathroom, and anybody that again identifies as trans
not a realistic
bathroom. Yes,
that's
it is.
That's not a realistic goal.
It is. It is. They've created.
You want companies to spend millions of dollars to redo all their bathrooms instead of just not being a bigot.
It's not $1 million, and it's not $1 million
to redo all of their plumbing and all of their infrastructure.
It's not
just to accommodate to your bigot views.
No, because again, they had to accommodate for disabilities, and that is one thing that they can accommodate for. Is an extra bathroom.
They didn't actually have to make a whole new room. You're asking them to make a whole new bathroom.
They had to change curbs. They had to change walkways. They had to change everything for that disability accommodation. So what are you talking about?
Or you could just not be a bigot.
I'm not a bigot,
and that's free.
That's not a bigot. That's not being a bigot.
Caller, you are more likely to end up in a wheelchair than you are to end up trans. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so we, in terms of like requiring businesses to do things that are expensive, Raven can speak for themselves, but I'm actually like willing to just say that like requiring wheelchair ramps is just a bigger issue than sorting out who uses what bathroom.
Well, what I'm saying is that making an accommodation for everybody.
It's literally for you to not be a bigot.
So Raven, why wouldn't we just make an accommodation that appeals to everybody?
Because we don't need to. We don't need to if you just aren't a bigot.
It's not being a bigot. You can keep on throwing these terms around.
Nobody's being harmed the way it is. You want to cause a problem to then spend money to fix it.
It's because
no one's being raped in bathrooms by trans women. That's just not happening.
We are approaching friendly time, so I am just for those. Excuse me, guest. I'm talking. For those listening, I am just going to invite my friend Diava Talks into the call. I don't know if she's going to pipe in immediately, but she is joining.
I actually have to get going too.
Thanks for hopping on, Raven. Talking. Yeah. Appreciate your perspective.
Thank you, Raven.
Have a good one.
For the conversation.
Yeah. It was nice to meet you, Raven. Hi. So living. The only thing I've taken out of this conversation is Raven was right. You are a class A bigot. But not only that, you sound just like the people back in the 50s and 60s who didn't want black people to go to the bathroom with white people, so they had to have their own bathrooms.
Strikingly similar language. It is the case that you sound that way.
So you are a segregationist and you want them to be othered like they did to people of color back in the before the civil rights movement?
We're talking about different genders.
No, sir. And you're talking about different races. It's no different. It's the same argument.
I'm not talking about a different race.
I am not Oscar. I do not allow men to speak over me, and so I will mute you. And so you're going to listen to me. Because you have stunted growth is not the problem for the rest of us.
You guys all are terrible at mediating.
I promise you that none of us women, we've never been assaulted by anyone in the bathrooms. If you Google how many transgender, and they left. Of course, they always do.
Yeah. Well, something tells me that he was like really, really willing to be mean to Raven, but probably isn't ready to put up with your shit because you're kind of a professional at it. I mean, Raven can hold their damn own, but I think you just scared him away, Diava. Good job.
He's a pussy. That's why. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm tired of calling men pussies because women, we
belittling the pussies.
Ours are really strong, and I've birthed babies out of mine. I promise you, they can take a beating and they can push out a fucking something the size of a watermelon that's the size of a lemon. So you can fuck off. We're just going to call them wrinkly old ball sacks because that's what they are. But basically, this is just segregation. He's arguing for segregation.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to start calling it.
Well, and like the biggest argument, we on the left are so much less bothered by who uses what bathroom. Like our main argument is just that it could just be a fucking non-issue if this guy didn't hate trans people so much.
It's like, I don't care.
Let them use either bathroom because they're somewhere in the middle. Who the fuck cares? Just let them choose. Their situation is difficult and unique. Like, for fuck's sake, what does it matter? They don't commit very many sex crimes. It's like,
I guarantee you that guy has been in a bathroom with a transgender person before and had no fucking clue. Because they don't go in and announce, hello, I'm a trans man. I mean, it's just stupid.
If these people knew how often a trans person passes and they interact with them without realizing they're trans, if they knew how often that happens to them, they would freak out.
Absolutely. And the thing is when we go to the bathroom, I don't know about you, but when I'm in public, I don't like to even go to the bathroom in public. Okay. So it's only will I use a public bathroom if it's like desperate, like I gotta go. And then I get in and get out as fast as I can fucking get in and get out. I am not looking at the person next to me. I don't make eye contact unless someone says a nicety like, hi, how are you? I'm like, oh, good. How are you? I'll do like that, but I'm in and I'm out. I don't care about who's in the bathroom with me. I don't spend any time studying the faces of the Adam's apples of people to see if there might be a transgender person. I mean, it's just so stupid. This was never a problem. They have been around for centuries since the beginning of time. This has only been a problem since Trump. Because they didn't have abortion to run on anymore. They got that with Roe v. Wade. Then they got rid of, they targeted immigrants. Well, now they're getting immigrants out of the way. So they have to have a boogeyman because that's how fascism works. They have to have a common enemy to be against. And right now it happens to be transgender people, which is less than 1% of the population, who doesn't bother anyone, who doesn't commit crimes, and really don't want to be pointed out. Like, they're not trying to stand out and be noticed. They really want to just live their lives, and people leave them alone.
Well, and their
lives are already hard enough.
I'm on the wrong side of it for this perspective because I use the men's room, but like as a person who just doesn't care about, I always have to be careful when I say that I don't care about gender identity, because I obviously care about gender identity as a topic. I just don't care about any particular person's gender identity.
I don't think about it.
I don't think about it. So when I walk into when I go to the bathroom, I'm not checking who's what. It doesn't matter. I recognize it's different. It's different for women who use the women's room and do have to worry about men attacking them, because that's like a really serious problem.
I've never worried about it, Oscar. And I'm just being honest with you.
I believe you.
I've been sexually assaulted twice in my life, one at 14 and one in 2019. My first time was 14 years old, and then this last time was in 2019. And it was not in a bathroom either time.
I just don't understand how the guest can think that these policies would affect him at all. I don't think he would really, like, the policy could change overnight to what he wants, and I don't think he'd notice ever.
No, because it's not an issue. This is not an issue that needs solved.
Yeah.
And I think that's the vast difference. This is an issue that doesn't need solved. It's the same thing with, they keep screaming, and I don't mean to change the topics, but it just correlates. It's the same thing with them trying to do the SAVE Act. They're trying to solve a fraudulent elections that don't exist.
Yeah, literally it's the same thing with litter boxes in classrooms. It's just a made-up problem that incenses hateful people, and then hateful people go and vote for things that are literally bad for them, because I will remind everybody that the left isn't trying to win for the left. We're trying to win for everybody, and these people are being...
Do you know where that came from, the litter boxes?
I don't know how the rumor started.
Well, it's because there was a teacher who was talking, I believe on the news, they were talking about that they had kitty litter in their pet classrooms. But that's for blood when there's a school shooting, to soak up the blood, or if a kid vomits.
Oh.
They keep kitty litter because kitty litter clumps it.
I live in Minnesota. I keep kitty litter in my vehicle to put under my wheels when I get stuck. I guess that makes me a furry or something, right? Like, it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's just silly. And then they went on this whole thing and demonizing furries because they're different and it's weird and they don't understand it. You know what? Leave people alone. For the people who claim to be the party of small government, they want to be in everyone's pants, bedroom, bathroom, school. They want to control fucking everything. And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're so concerned with we on the left, like, affecting their children or whatever, when all we want is for everybody to get to be themselves and live their lives. That's what we're after on the left. What hateful people we must be, apparently.
I mean, I don't get it. And I know that that's part of the fear base. That's and a lot of that comes from, just so you know, I'm sure you do know and have an inkling, but a lot of this also comes from this comes from patriarchy. They can't possibly understand why a man would give up their place as number one to become a lowly woman, to become a second-class citizen, because that's how they actually think about us.
Yeah,
these type of men do not see women as equal. So that's why they cannot understand why any man would choose to then want to be a woman, and or they're scared that they're going to be attracted to one and then have to question their own sexuality.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that most hateful bigots that dislike trans people have probably at some point in their life glanced at a trans person walking down the street, been attracted to them, and not known that they were trans. Oopsie daisy.
Correct.
Oopsie daisy. And if you're secure in your sexuality, that shouldn't fucking matter to you, right? Like, who cares? Like, it can be a deal breaker in a relationship if somebody's trans. That's fine. You're allowed to have that position. But like the idea,
that's in an intimate relationship.
You can decide not to be with somebody if you don't like their hairstyle. It doesn't matter, you know. Like, you're allowed to just pick whoever you want to be with. We're not saying that you have to be that type of inclusive. Nobody wants that.
You don't have to date them. You don't have to marry them. You don't have to date them. You don't even have to be friends with them. But what you do have to do is accept that they exist and leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah,
that's really just it.
Yeah.
And I think that I have some transgender friends, and they said that their DMs are full of men on the down low.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually quite obsessed. And Psychology 101 tells you when they obsess so much over something, it's typically because they're either self-loathing because they know that they shouldn't be, or they think it's bad, but they watch the corn, they watch they're sliding in their DMs, and it's just because they're ashamed of who they are, or they're in the closet. It's the same way. I feel the same way about people who think being gay is a choice. If you think it's a choice, it's because you're choosing to be straight. That's what I think.
All right.
Because otherwise, you and I both know it's not.
Yeah. Well, but the audience has heard this before. But all right, Diava, we've got. Do you recognize the person who's sitting in the queue? Do you remember who?
Let me see.
Do you remember who that is?
Oh God, fuck.
Okay, yeah. So this is the guy, to remind the audience, this is the person who the last time he was on, maybe the time before that, I don't know, he comes up all the time because he's obsessed with me. But right now, I just posted the clip this morning of him saying that he would, if we had a social program that fed 100 kids, and there was one kid in that 100 that's technically ineligible for that program, he said we should shut the program down. So I'll remind everybody, this guy's position is that he would starve 99 kids just to make sure that he starved one more. I'm going to bring him on briefly, just because I want to hear.
Fucking disgusting. Oh my God.
Yeah. He literally said that. I asked him about it a bunch of times. He clarified it, and the clip's doing real well. So thanks for the Instagram followers, El Chico Tech
Jesus
EDU.
Christ.
But I'm going to bring him up, and I just want to hear. I want to hear about some of his precious feelings that he's developed over the last few minutes, because I can see in the chat
he's a colossal piece of shit.
He's very, very upset about the things that we've talking about. So just remind us how old you are, El Chico Tech EDU.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I have a pinky.
Hi, W. How you doing?
How old are you again?
Oh, 40.
How you doing, El Chico Tech EDU?
Doing good, brother. How many viewers do we got on? I haven't even seen the clip. I've been kind of busy.
Well, it was like 17,000 or something when I looked at the beginning of the show. It's 27,000 now.
So per viewers, how much do you get paid for that?
Oh, I just unlocked monetization on Instagram, and it hasn't pushed through to my account yet, so I don't know yet. We'll see.
Okay, so how much are we going to go ahead and give to Hungry Kids?
Well, I was thinking about posting the longer clip where we talked about food charities, and I was trying to find a good food charity to put in the description of that. But that clip didn't perform as well as a trial reel. Though I'll say as I did last time, which is that I think that my superpower isn't spending every last dollar from my paycheck giving it to soup kitchens. I think that more money goes to the soup kitchens if I run this show and people listen to my ideas. Because then people, the listeners, the audience, the millions of people who watch my videos might go and donate some money to a food charity. If you're listening to my voice right now, please, if you have any disposable income, please go spend it at a food charity. Thank you for doing that.
Why don't you?
My daughter has a nonprofit food pantry.
Yeah, I got a nonprofit too, and I don't understand why don't you give some of that money, since you're trying to bring awareness.
Stop being a pocket watcher. Nobody cares. That's not what you're upset about. Why don't you talk about what you're upset about?
Yeah, if you're concerned about how much,
if you're not willing to feed the kids.
If you're concerned about my income, I get my income for convincing people, among other things, that they should donate their money to food charities. So my net benefit to food charities is greater than if I didn't do this and just spent the $8 left in my bank account at the end of my bills because I'm broke on a food charity.
Your net benefit is not doing anything. Just stay on TikTok and make money off of people.
He has a job,
I do. I am employed,
and I still volunteer, and I still do free things for people, especially the elderly.
It still doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make you a good person with the beliefs that you hold. No, it doesn't.
Why not?
Because you're a shit, because of your views and the way you think about people. You say it, you go and feed food pantries, but then you make statements like you'd starve 100 kids if you thought one didn't deserve it. Your logic, it's inconsistent with you want to present a nice face to the world. You want to present to the world that you're a good person, but you're not.
Isn't a good person actually using those funds to
No, you're doing it for validation. You're doing it for validation for yourself.
Yeah, the hateful ideas that you spread are really, really bad for society, and that's a very serious negative effect for society.
It's not hateful. Nobody's feeding my kids. Why should I want to see? You're not even giving up your own money that you earn with this.
Do you think that anybody who's doing anything for money should stop doing that and give all the money they have left to charity? What is your argument? Just because I make a little bit of money sitting here talking to you, I also make a little money at the jobs I go to. What does it matter? Are you saying every dollar ever?
You want other people to go ahead and use their own money.
If I continue being really successful,
that's other people's money.
No. I'm going to answer it directly. If I'm really successful at this live thing and it's going great so far, then I will make so much money that then I will be able to spend that money on lots of charities. That's like a dream of mine. I would give because I would become homeless and then I would need other people's charity. So I need to pay my bills. I need to grow my show. I need to grow my channel. And if it gets really, really big and I make a boatload of money of it, I will make big giant paper checks with lots of zeros on them and give them to charities. So link tree in the bio if you want to support me in the endeavor of making the world a better place by educating fools like our guest on how hateful their own ideologies are. If you want to support that, link tree in the bio. Or if you want to skip me entirely and just go support a food charity, then the hundreds of people who are listening, please go donate money to a food charity. What are you not understanding about this?
That you're not putting up.
Why aren't okay? I'll turn it around on you. Why are you not in a? Why are you on this live instead of being in a soup kitchen?
Because I volunteered yesterday for the past.
Why aren't you volunteering right now? You clearly have free time right now. Why aren't you in a soup kitchen?
Well, actually, that's why I wasn't able to get on earlier because I went to a senior citizen.
You are wasting your free time talking to me because you think that everything I'm doing is meaningless and not beneficial to society. You are sitting here wasting your time instead of going back to the fucking soup kitchen. Like, put your money where your mouth is and behave in the way that you are ordering other people to behave. Go to the fucking soup kitchen. Hang up the phone and go to the soup kitchen if you have a spine. Because you know why I'm getting so angry. The audience knows why I'm getting so angry, and I accept the fact that I'm getting angry because you are somebody.
No, angry because
I'm angry because you deserve my ire. Now get the fuck off the phone and go to the soup kitchen if you have a spine.
I just came back from the senior citizen center. What are you talking about?
Go the fuck back to the. Yeah, why are you here doing this? Why'd you come home? You have more free time. Go spend it at the soup kitchen.
I gotta eat and I gotta write.
No,
yes, I gotta eat too. Link tree in the bio for the fucking dentist fund so people can stop talking about my chipped tooth. Like, what the fuck is your point?
Dude, you got beautiful teeth. What are you talking about? Yeah, they're good. What are you talking?
Yeah, that's very
I'm serious. I'm not bullshitting. You got good teeth. What's wrong with that?
I'm honestly surprised to hear you say that. That's very kind of you. Now get the fuck back to the soup kitchen because you're sitting here saying that we're wasting our time and that we should be doing something charitable. And you were sitting here wasting your time on my live instead of going to the soup kitchen. I am not going to let this call move on until you square that hypocrisy. Explain yourself.
Why didn't you eat at the soup kitchen?
I just explained.
You didn't need to go home and buy. You didn't need to go home and buy.
I just came from a senior citizen meeting, a senior center meeting to help senior citizens on how to protect themselves from scams and identity theft.
People who brag about
how is that not a charitable event?
Answer this question. Why is right now what you're doing, talking to me, why is that a good use of your time instead of doing more charity work?
Because I'm actually doing more charity work right now while I write these emails and talk to you. I could dual task. You know that,
You're
right?
literally just going to claim that you're multitasking and spending this time right now charitably. Wouldn't you write those emails faster and probably with better grammar if you gave that your full attention?
I mean, I could do it when I'm done with you. I mean,
no. You should be done with me immediately. You should hang up the phone and go focus on that because apparently that's the only thing. Because you claim that that's the only thing a person should do with their free time. I know he's lying. The chat. I know the chat is telling me that he's lying about all this charitable work. I know he's lying. I just don't have proof, so I'm not going to go that direction with it. I'm just going to ask him.
Actually,
you're demonstrating right now that you are spending your time and attention on me instead of charity after being mad at me for running this show instead of doing charitable things. Square the hypocrisy.
Actually, I sent a message to, I can't pronounce her name.
Anybody that brags about their charity work,
I sent you a message.
Enough with your stinky mouth. I just have a question for you. Or actually, not a question, a statement. You bragging about doing charity work means it's for your validation, for you. You want to brag. You're probably one of those people who would probably take a video of you giving some homeless guy a sandwich on the side of the road to put it on social media. So what you need to do is stop being performative and actually be humane. And you're not humane in the words that you speak when you're on these panels.
So I sent you a message a while ago in regards to trying to see if I could help you in any way or your viewers to protect themselves, especially women after, sexual assaults.
Way to not acknowledge anything that I said.
As far as protecting themselves from, can you not hear me? Digital predators and, so I just reached out to you.
Shut up. Don't let him do this.
He thinks he's doing so much good by just messaging people on TikTok, dude. It's so spineless and transparent. By the way, I'll risk being the hypocrite that announces it, but I also do some charitable things in my free time that I don't post for clout.
We all do.
Yeah. Specifically, I have a work van and I use it for delivering goods for certain charities sometimes and helping with some of the aid programs in Minneapolis. I just it's not good content. I'm not going to be like, hey, look at me driving my big work van full of boxes of stuff. No, it's just that's just that I do
he's
that.
Just he's just plugging himself. Look at me, I'm such a good guy because you made him look like a shitbag because he's a shitbag.
Dude, I don't care what you think.
Then why do you spend so much time? Wait, if you don't care what we think, then why do you spend hours over the last week talking to me on this show? Why is that a good use of your time if you don't care what we think, and you think that a person should spend all their free time on charity?
Because I get a pleasure by exposing your hypocrisy.
So you're sitting here verbally jerking yourself off instead of going and doing charity. How selfish!
He's a sociopath.
Yeah, how selfish.
Got it.
It's entertaining because I mean, it is
entertaining. I'll give you that.
The one thing you guys fail to see is like we're in the right. We're willing to work with you and help you guys out, but you guys.
No, you're not. That's horseshit. That's horseshit, and you know it. Look at the voting record of Republicans in Congress. That's horseshit. Elect some people who actually do that, so we can feed some kids for fuck's sake.
What are you talking about?
Bullshit. They refuse to work across the aisle. The Republicans in Congress refuse to work with the Democrats. You are so full of shit.
So I just reached out to you and you just gave me some bullshit.
I don't want your
drama.
I don't allow maggots in my space. I don't allow MAGA in my life.
See?
I don't allow MAGA.
Hypocrite.
No. I do not let MAGA infiltrate my personal life. I'm literally in the middle of divorcing my MAGA husband. So I promise you, I'm not going to let some guy on the internet into my circle if I'm kicking my husband out of it. Okay, so you're not special. And I don't let any MAGA person near me, especially near my children.
Yeah, so I kicked him just because I wanted to give him 10 minutes to continue.
If you still support Trump, you are not safe to be around anyone's children.
I kicked him because we're past 12 p.m. and I just wanted to give him a few minutes to make himself look bad again, but I'm sure he's going to keep calling in. I'm actually going to bring up Monk because we have entered the Just Us Girls Hour, which I don't think is going to be an hour because I've got some stuff to do today. But Monk called in towards the beginning of the show and I told him to call back towards the end of the show, so I wanted to give him his time. How you doing, Monk?
I'm doing well. Regarding Orange, his entire arguments were based on a fundamental fallacy.
Remind us, which one was Orange?
Orange was
the
my God,
theory.
Yeah. The definitions from 100 years ago over the way that people actually speak now guy.
Yeah.
Pseudo-intellectual.
Very pseudo-intellectual, yeah.
He was just the embodiment of giving off small pee-pee feelings. One of my superpowers as a gay man is I can identify a straight cis guy.
Ooh, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm so sorry. I got a restriction for you. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. Or Monk, I mean to say. I don't know what the cause of that was, but I can't have you on the live today. So please call back another day.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm going to review that one and check what he said word for word. So maybe I can.
He just said orange guy, but he wasn't talking about Trump.
Maybe they thought he was talking about Trump. Interesting. There's that. Yeah. So very, very sorry, Monk. Yeah. Okay. He's recognizing that it happens sometimes in the chat. He knows I'm gonna get accused of kicking him because I lost, because that's what happens every time I kick anybody. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, he was a friendly, so you can't lose to a friendly.
The Republicans are going to declare any W they can get. Things are going poorly for them.
That's true. They can't win anywhere.
Yeah. If anybody in the chat, any friendlies want to hop up and chat for a minute, you can come have the floor because it is friendly time. We're no longer taking debate calls, and I'm just going to be on for a little bit more. So if anybody wants to hit up the chat, but I'll take the moment until anybody else does to give Diava Talks an opportunity to give us a little commercial for her show.
Yeah. Sorry, goodness. If you aren't familiar with me, hi, nice to meet you. I do go live myself every single day from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern. So in like 3 hours, a little less than 3 hours from now. But I do go live every single day, 7 days a week. And I am not nearly as patient as Oskar. I am quite fiery. But that's also because men typically come to my live. I get most of the misogynistic crash outs, people who think they're going to own this old lady, and they call me a hag, and they remark about my appearance, and all the typical misogynistic garbage. And so I have to toe a straight line, and they also come in and they want to talk all over me and run all over me, and so I use the mute button quite effectively. It's just a totally different strategy I have, but I kind of have to because of being a female, being a woman. These men seem to think they can take over my live and school me, so to speak. So I have to be a little bit more rough than usual, but I'm also, I've raised tons of money for my community. We fed 72 families. Do you remember how Aldi and Walmart had those $40 Thanksgiving meals.
Oh yeah,
like you pay $40.
Yeah, where they made the basket of goods smaller to make it look like that had gotten cheaper. In reality, it was just less food.
Yeah. But Walmart did. Yes.
Yeah. Walmart did that dishonest thing.
Yeah. Correct. But what we did is we raised enough money and we fed 72 families for Thanksgiving.
Lovely.
That needed that $40 Thanksgiving meal. We've had people. We've raised money to help people not lose their homes, not get evicted, not get foreclosed on. Like, we do a lot of really good work. So I do. My theme song says, "A heart of gold, but a force of steel." So I run mine kind of harshly, but I'm actually very much an empath and a human. Inhumane people make me crash out. I can't stand when they, say people don't deserve to eat and food's shouldn't be a human right, and those kind of things. So those are the things I get upset about. But other than that, I do have to toe a hard line, but I think I do it effectively. And I started my account like you. I started it organically, and I'm just under 50,000 followers now, and I haven't done anything but just be consistent and hold lives every single day.
What time do you go live?
4 p.m. Eastern.
2 hours of debates and then an hour of friendly time, right?
That's correct. And and during friendly time, I let people from other countries, people that didn't vote, or if they voted, whatever. I let anybody come up during friendly time. I do let MAGA come up, but if they're going to crash out. Like, if they want to have a genuine conversation, we'll include them in. But if they're just coming up to be trolls or crash out, then I just drop them.
Yeah, same thing with friendly time on here. The rules are just kind of whatever we're feeling during friendly time, because it's friendly time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I go live 10 to 12 CST. That might change in about a week, so stay tuned on that. But for now, 10 to 12 CST, and a similar structure where for most of the beginning of the show, it's debates, and then sometimes by 11:30, but definitely by 12, I tend to switch over to friendly calls. I just wanted to give El Chico Tech 10 minutes to see if I got any more good Instagram clips out of him, because at the end of the day, I'll be able to make a lot more money for charity if I get more clips of El Chico Tech making himself look bad that do well on Instagram and grow my accounts. So thank you for your indirect contribution to the charity I will do in my life, El Chico Tech EDU. It's people like you that are making it happen for me.
Joker in the comment section says they can't talk. You over talk and then block. I have Joker blocked. And I don't block MAGA unless they're disgusting, egregious, or inhumane. So Joker must have said something disgusting, vulgar, or inhumane, or racist, or homophobic, or something like that. And then, yes, I will mute you and I will block you, because I don't want those type of people on my platform. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, Diava, I still get accused of it, but it actually takes quite a lot to get me to even just mute you or block you. It's pretty hard.
I know.
Yeah,
you don't mute or block people. I do.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things I have to just to protect the account. I can't have people coming up here and shouting the N-word all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the sort of thing I block people for. But if you want to come up and say, I mean, El Chico Tech EDU has been getting a lot of airtime this week. I'm giving the guy a platform, but again, I think he's doing great work making the right look bad. So if he wants to keep coming up and talking, that's fine. That's fine. I'll keep posting clips of him on Instagram. What are we up to? It's only been
it's free. It's free content. Absolutely.
Free content. Infinite Content Glitch talking to that guy. We're approaching 28,000 on Instagram for that one. That one's 28,000 before noon when I posted a clip in the morning. That one's probably going to go big. That one might get 1 million views. That's a real great rate.
Joker, you haven't said anything here to be blocked. That is correct, which is why I haven't blocked you, and I have the power to do so, but you haven't said anything in here that's egregious. So that's why.
Diava is a mod.
I have the power. He gave me the power.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it because you haven't said anything. I told you. I have very specific criteria. It's homophobic, transphobic, racist, or you're just saying stuff that's going to get you. Yes, I did in my live. Absolutely. In my live I did, because you obviously did or said something that was under that category.
Yep. I guess the last thing I'll say, because I'm not going to talk to El Chico Tech EDU again today, even though he's in the request queue to come up and say, more hateful nonsense. Saturday, I will be going to Iowa to, let's just say, do some coverage of a Turning Point USA event. So if you have any ideas about how I should spend my time in Iowa, shoot me a DM, because me and Dr. Dankenstein42069, my lovely troll buddy, who you should follow on TikTok and Instagram, he and I are going to drive down to Iowa. Some of the another well-known protester face is going to be in the car with us, so stay tuned for that. There's going to be some vlogs and shenanigans about that. But
how far is Iowa from you?
Well, I'm in Minneapolis, and I haven't even looked up where in Iowa it is. I would assume Des Moines, which is some single digit number of hours south of here. So probably like Iowa's like 2 hours south of here, but Des Moines is like, I don't remember, like 6 hours south or something. So it's gonna be a little bit of a road trip. Yeah, we're gonna watch Grindr crash in some city in Iowa, according to the chat. But yeah, so I haven't exactly decided what the approach is to get good content out of that and to do what I want to do, because I'm not going to go like, I don't want to go be disruptive, you know, like I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to go like Savannah Hernandez the situation and get myself assaulted. But I do want to go get some interesting coverage. I was thinking of doing like, I was thinking of coming up with like a really reprehensible petition idea, like that men shouldn't be teachers or something, and then get people to sign that petition and like get footage of me talking about some made up thing.
Do mandatory vasectomies for all boys at the age of 13, and they can't have it reversed until they're old enough to prove that they're financially and emotionally responsible to have children, and that way there'll be 0 abortions.
Oh yeah, we're like a petition to put all the kids who get SNAP benefits in the foster program or something crazy that people actually come on here and tell me. That's one idea. Point is, we will be doing some trolling, and unlike Savannah Hernandez, we admit when we are trolling. She said that she wasn't trolling at the Whipple. She said both that she was here to interview and debate, and that she wasn't there to interview and debate. She's been inconsistent, and she lied about what actually happened. This is the Turning Point USA correspondent who was involved in that fight at the Whipple a couple of weeks ago that I helped break up. Footage of that on my Instagram if you want to go check it out. So we're still working on trolling her. I'm still working on my hit piece about that, which I have decided to procrastinate because it's turning into a bigger documentary I'm making. But you can follow me for all that outdoor content that I also do in addition to just sitting in here and doing the debates. But yeah, we're not going to be like Savannah Hernandez and pretend that what we're doing is like totally serious journalism. I'm going to Iowa to troll the Republicans in person because I am not a keyboard warrior. I sit here and do it every day at 10 o'clock from this chair, but I'm perfectly happy to go do it in person. And so I shall. I'm going to drive to Iowa. By the way, thanks to everybody who has made this social media thing that I'm doing explosive enough for it to be worth my time to do this road trip to Iowa instead of calling that a work day, because I have been able to dedicate more of my time to this live streaming thing. But if you really want to, if you want to make El Chico Tech EDU really unhappy and have me be successful at this in a way where I get to dedicate more of my life to these things I so obviously dearly care about, you can support the live in all the free ways by following me on the platforms, following me here, all those links in the link tree in my bio. And if you've got the budget for it, there are material ways you can support me as well. And that directly goes to me spending more time on this, because currently I don't make enough money doing this to give it all my time. But that's the goal. That's the goal. Help me achieve that goal, because this is going great. And I've got people like Diava to thank for, hopping in here and telling the algorithm that I'm a good debate host.
And El Chico's still going at it in the comment section, which is taking me out, because he's like, oh, you're going on a road trip while there's hungry kids. You're a hypocrite. Like, we're not supposed to live life, do anything other than just volunteer every minute of every day. We can't do any activism work. We can't work. We can't have kids. We can't do anything because we have to be volunteering if there are hungry kids. It is logically inconsistent, and he's absolutely absurd, and he knows it.
Well, and I also just would like to point out that I'm pretty sure that El Chico Tech has spent more time engaging with this show this week than I will spend in the car driving to Iowa. So, exactly. And Iowa's pretty far away. Okay, I do have some donations to read. We've got a donation from Chris for $10 on Venmo, who says, appreciate your content and the way you handle MAGA and cook them, but differently than other popular debaters. We've all got to have our own flavor, and I like to think that my never muting approach is like kind of unique, so I appreciate that. And then we've got 5 from Will, who's a regular donor, so I gotta make sure that Will gets his shout out for being really MVP on the donations. But his message on today's $5 Venmo donation is, this pocket watching chud. I think I know who he was talking about. So I appreciate Will very, very much for that. And yeah, I'm sitting here cheesing about it because it's exciting that people see me sitting here doing this and want to support it. So you guys are seeing the real smile that crawls across my face, and I'm so glad. Oh wow, hold on. Braden Adams just came in with 20, and he just put as his message, Iowa. Thank you for the $20. Me and Dr. Dankenstein 42069 will spend that $20 on gas driving to Iowa. So thanks so much for that. I absolutely.
You'll get get 4 gallons in Trump's America.
Yeah. Link tree in the bio. Gas is expensive, and I'm going all the way to Iowa to troll the Republicans. Very expensive trolling going on a road trip. So seriously, though, jokes aside, I'll shout out Braden, Will, and Chris again for help materially supporting the show today. It makes a genuine, serious difference in the amount of time that I can do this. And I'll just take another moment because people sent me some donations. I want to really tell my true feelings about this. I have 2 jobs, and both of them are inconsistent, and on a given month don't really add up to enough for me to survive. So for quite a while now, I've had to do additional work, seek gigs. I'm a musician, so maybe I get some money from a music gig. That's preferable. But if I don't, then I need to go do some handyman work or some delivery driving or something. And I'm at a place with my social media right now where, because of people like Will and Braden and, did I forget the third name? Chris, people like them, I don't actually need to do any of that anymore. I have my 2 jobs. I work those hours, and that's why the schedule might change on my live streams next week, because my work schedule is changing. But it is literally because of you watching that I get to not spend any of my free time outside of my working hours worrying about making that extra bit of money. I get to focus on this and video editing and getting the VODs up on YouTube and doing the clips on Instagram that advertise the show and going to protest events and doing things like going to Iowa. I couldn't give up a weekend to go do a silly thing like that. Prior to all this, it's incredible. I'm just excited about it. I'm just cheesing about it because you guys are truly making a immense difference for me in my life, and I just got to shout it out because it's incredible. But that's all. Anything else, Diava, before I conclude the show for the day?
I don't know, Joker. I don't know what he's talking about my son about, but he needs to keep my kid's name out of his mouth.
Sure does. Maybe I'll talk to him tomorrow. Joker, come back and talk to me at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Everybody, I'm going to kick Diava for the algorithm.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. And everybody else, thanks for hanging out. Thanks so much for the donations, people. It really excites me that people are willing to keep fueling this fire with me. So just thanks to everybody. You all know who you're talking about. Everybody who clicks, everybody who engages, everybody who likes, follows, shares the live, everything like that. Absolutely incredible. I will see you guys in about 22 hours at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time right here tomorrow.